This book is titled 45 Money Lessons, written by Franklin Okechukwu Ukagba. Lesson 1. Say good things about money. One of the major lessons I learned early in life about money is the importance of speaking well of it. I believe in maintaining a positive mindset toward money and cultivating a healthy, respectful relationship with it. This positive perception of money as a valuable and powerful entity naturally fueled my desire for financial acquisition and growth. The truth is, the zeal for wealth weakens the moment money is spoken of negatively or regarded as an ungodly or unworthy entity. You cannot attract what you do not value, nor can you possess what you do not respect. When you downplay the relevance and importance of money, its possession becomes far-fetched. Money does not respond to disdain, it responds to appreciation. It thrives where it is respected, applauded, and valued. Like attracts like. You cannot perceive or speak about money in a disdainful manner and still expect to attract it. The law of attraction teaches that positive or negative thoughts bring corresponding realities into a person's life. In essence, what you consistently think, feel, and speak about is what you invite, because like attracts like. A positive mindset about money attracts money. You can read more on this in Lesson 14, where I discussed the importance of cultivating a healthy and positive mindset toward money. As the Bible says in Proverbs 23:7, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." It means our interior thoughts, beliefs, and true intents define our character, determine our actions, and shape our ultimate reality. Perhaps it was this potent and disciplined mindset that shaped the financial reality and destiny of King Solomon. He was an extraordinarily wealthy king, certainly an ancient billionaire by any standard. And the truth is, no billionaire harbors an ill or negative mindset about money. This is why hundreds, even thousands of books have been written on the mindsets of billionaires. I encourage you to get one and read it. Change your mindset, and it will change your financial reality. The energy we consistently project toward money as an entity through our thoughts, words, and beliefs habitually shapes our financial outcomes and realities. Personally, I believe that the first step in money acquisition and wealth creation is cultivating a positive money language and mindset. This transformation of thought helps rewire and elevate the mind, making it receptive to healthy, consistent, and sustainable wealth acquisition. There is a creative force behind every manifestation. Our utterances about money play a significant role in shaping our financial outcomes, either positively or negatively. The truth is simple. You can only attract what you love, not what you hate or devalue. For instance, it is easier to attract the favor of a person you consistently praise or speak well of, whether God, fellow human beings, or even material things. Across many religious beliefs, it is held that when praises rise to heaven, blessings locate people on earth. Praise, in essence, is the easiest way to access divine presence and favor. In the same way, the language we use toward money determines how it responds to us. What we honor tends to gravitate toward us. What we dishonor tends to distance itself. Let me be clear. I am not advocating the worship of money, nor am I suggesting that money should be elevated to the status of a deity. Sadly, however, money has already become a master with scores of slaves and a god with multitude of worshippers. This did not happen intentionally in most cases. People unconsciously handed money that power. That is why we see individuals going to extreme lengths, sometimes committing all kinds of atrocities in their desperate pursuit of wealth. When money is no longer a tool but a master, values are compromised and humanity suffers. The goal, therefore, is not to worship money, but to relate to it wisely, respecting its role without surrendering our conscience or control. However, my point remains this. You will naturally attract the blessings and favor of what or whom you consistently praise and speak well of. To gain access to the hearts and hands of people for goodwill and opportunities, you must speak well of them, appreciate them, and acknowledge their value. In the same way, when you adopt a respectful and appreciative language toward money, you position yourself to attract it. So, speak well of money, value its purpose, and watch it flow in your direction. Money goes where it is appreciated, not where it is constantly labeled as evil. Stop speaking ill of money. Stop calling money the root of all evil. Money only earns a bad reputation in the hands of bad possessors or those who are ignorant of what money truly represents. I have come to realize that many people understand money through the perspectives of those who raised them, like their parents, guardians, or mentors. As a result, they grow up hearing statements such as, "Money is the root of all evil," "Money corrupts," "Money changes people," "Rich people are bad," "God hates the rich and loves the poor," "Money doesn't bring happiness." Repeated over time, such statements profane and debase the true purpose of money and subtly discourage its possession. They shape a mindset that repels opportunity rather than attracts it. The easiest way to attract and access the opportunities that carry money is to speak well of money, value it, understand it, and relate to it with wisdom. There is power in spoken words. Words are powerful. What we consistently think, say, and believe has the ability to shape our realities. The Bible reminds us that the weak say, "I am strong," Joel 3:10, emphasizing that transformation often begins with declaration. In the same way, financial transformation begins with how we perceive and speak about money. It's often paraphrased as, "Let the poor say, I am rich," drawn from the same Joel 3:10. A prophetic verse that encourages the weak and impoverished to declare divine strength and prosperity. It underscores the power of declaration in shaping our financial destiny. There is indeed a creative force behind every manifestation. At times, financial prosperity is the visible outcome of consistently spoken, positive words. When you speak well of money, opportunities to earn it naturally begin to align and flow in your direction. Billions of people around the world hustle daily for money. Yet, money itself is neutral. It is neither inherently good nor bad. It simply takes on the identity, character, and values of its possessor. However, based on its purpose and functionality, we can all agree that money is good, an honest and conscientious tool meant to serve humanity when rightly understood and wisely handled. Your money language matters. It has the power to shape your financial future. As noted earlier, you must deliberately build positive attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors around money. You cannot consistently speak ill of money and still expect to possess it. In the same way, you cannot hate people and expect friendship, favor, or attraction from them. Hate repels, while appreciation attracts. What you despise cannot come to you because hatred does not attract good things. It only invites lack and negativity. Appreciation, on the other hand, attracts abundance and positive outcomes. Ultimately, your money conversations, what you think, say, and believe about money, will determine your ability to acquire it, preserve it, and manage it wisely. People's conversations about money often reveal and even predict who is likely to become wealthy or remain poor. I have never seen a truly wealthy individual who hates money or consistently speaks ill of it. Likewise, I have never seen anyone who abuses, misuses, or devalues the identity of money and still retains it. Money departs the moment it is abused, dishonored, or regarded as an ungodly or unworthy entity. What is not respected cannot be sustained. Finally, if you desire to possess money, you must speak well of it, appreciate its purpose, manage it wisely, and care for it responsibly. I quote, "Money goes where it is appreciated and leaves where it is despised." Lesson 2. You must grow money. Earning money is not enough. You must grow it. Growth is what secures wealth. Another powerful lesson I've learned about money is the need to grow it like a seed. In agriculture, particularly in organic farming systems, there exist both vicious and virtuous cycles. A vicious cycle occurs when inadequate investment in seeds results in poor yields and limited future seed obtainability. In contrast, a virtuous cycle emerges when increased seed investment leads to higher yields and an abundance of seeds over time. However, seed farming, as we know, is the agricultural practice of cultivating crops specifically for the purpose of producing seeds for future planting or sale. In the same way, money must be intentionally invested and reinvested so it can multiply, rather than be merely consumed. Money that is not grown will eventually go. Seeds are meant for investing, not ingesting. Seeds are primarily meant for investing, not merely ingesting. Although we have edible seeds, such as flax seeds, chia seeds, nuts, sunflower seeds, and many others, we also have inedible seeds, including castor beans, rosary peas, and certain stone fruit seeds, which are unsafe to consume due to their toxicity and indigestibility. While we may consume edible seeds, we must not neglect the vital principle of seed saving, the agricultural practice by which farmers preserve seeds for future planting. This principle is not exclusive to farmers alone. Anyone can practice it, even with seeds grown at home. The wisdom lies in knowing that not every seed is meant for consumption. Some are meant for preservation, planting, and multiplication. Money functions like a seed. If consumed, it ends. If planted, it multiplies. To better illustrate this idea, consider the following parable. A wise man eats some of his seeds and saves some for planting. A foolish man eats all his seeds and wonders why the harvest never comes. Money follows the same rule. What you consume ends with you. What you invest multiplies beyond you. Money is a seed that must be planted for abundance of it, because seeds are meant for reproduction, not consumption. Fruits are meant for consumption, while seeds are for reproduction. A seed must be planted for the abundance of seeds in order to produce trees bearing fruits for consumption. Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, "Sow your seed in the morning, and do not be idle with your hands in the evening, for you do not know whether morning or evening planting will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both alike will be good." The author of Ecclesiastes admonishes us to sow our seeds in due season and to nurture them patiently, knowing that such diligence results in a bountiful harvest. In the same way, money that is wisely sown, managed, and grown will yield abundance in its appointed time. Wealth grows when money is treated as a seed, not a meal. Money as a seed is not meant for consumption. Don't eat a financial seed, rather, plant it for abundance of fruits. Thus, a farmer that eats his seeds during a rainy or growing season will end up with a hobby, idle and uncultivated farm, and would certainly have nothing to harvest during the harvesting season. You are definitely going to reap a bountiful harvest of money when you invest your money seeds. Learn to grow money like a farmer would grow a seed, with the goal of producing a tree bearing fruits to produce more fruits and seeds. Just as it takes one seed to produce more seeds, also, it takes money to produce more money, and by money seed wealth will be created. 3 M's Money Philosophy. This idea of growing money as a seed is a concept of making, managing, and multiplying money. These are the 3 M's of money. 1 is make it, to generate income. 2 is manage it, to protect and allocate it wisely. 3 is multiply it, to turn today's money into more money tomorrow. The moment money enters your hands, the question shouldn't be, what can I buy with this money? But, how can this money grow? For instance, you earn 100,000 naira. Consumption should not be your next move. Your first move should be multiplication. How does this 100,000 naira become 200,000 naira and above? Only after you have multiplied the money, you can then enjoy it. This ought to be your financial rule. Increase before feasting. Because every income is a seed. Eat it, and it's gone. But plant it, and it feeds you for a long time. Money must be planted for abundance of it. Money must be invested. Truly, every seed has in it a potential for more seeds. But a seed that is not planted cannot grow, and a seed cannot be fruitful except it grows. Money that is not invested will be wasted. You either spend or invest your money. Your decision will determine your financial success or failure. The money you spent is wasted. The money you saved is safe, but doesn't increase. But the money you invested is risky, but it yields incomes and profits. So every investment is a money-doubling scheme. You must build the resilient. Of a cash crop farmer. Cash crop farming is the practice of growing crops specifically for profit. In the same way, money is a seed that must be planted to generate returns. When money is sown wisely, through saving, investing, and purposeful use, it produces profit and abundance. Unplanted money stagnates. Planted money multiplies. You must think like a financial farmer, one who carefully plans, manages, and monitors resources to ensure profitable returns. You must eat money like a fruit. When eating a citrus fruit like orange, you don't eat the seeds. First, you have to remove the peel and feed on the innermost layer or juice vesicles, and then take out the seeds that can be planted to produce more orange trees for fruits. Money works the same way. Every money that enters your hand has a future. Do not rush to consume it all. Enjoy the fruit, but preserve the seed. Secure the future of the money by investing part of it so it can reproduce and return with increase. The orange principle of money management. This is a thoughtful metaphor that works on multiple financial levels. This insight shows financial maturity and not just financial knowledge, I must say. I have come to realize that every money we make has 3 lives: the past, the present, and the future. When you want to eat an orange fruit, first you take away the peel, the past of money, the money to cover past debts. Then you eat the edible part, the present of money, the money to solve immediate needs. And then you remove the seed, the future of money, the money for investment. To explain this further, number 1, the peel is the past of money. Here, responsibilities are already formed to clear debts and past financial promises you made. Number 2, the flesh, which is the present of money, which is what sustains you now, like feeding, shelter, and your present needs. This is where money actually serves us. Number 3, the seed, which is the future of money, the part most people neglect, investment and growth. What is intriguing about an orange seed is how smallish it looks and insignificant it appears compared to the tree or fruit it produces. Despite how small it looks, yet it carries potentials for many future oranges. This is exactly how money seeds appears, tiny and insignificant, but powerful and capable of birthing abundance over time. I quote, "Sometimes the millions and billions of money we dream of acquiring in the future are already embedded in the small seed of money we hold in our hands today." The principle of growth farmers versus hunters illustration. You cannot multiply what you don't grow. That is why farmers tend to become richer than hunters. A farmer plants seeds, nurtures them, and patiently waits for harvest. A hunter kills his prey and consumes it immediately. Thus, farmers think in seasons, while hunters think in moments. To a hunter, everything is now. There is no continuity beyond instant gravitation and satisfaction, while to a farmer, it's all about delayed gratification for lasting fulfillment. The Jacob and Esau story is a strong metaphor. The story of Jacob and Esau explains this principle clearly. Jacob was a farmer who cultivated crops and raised livestock, investing time and patience into growth. Esau, on the other hand, was a hunter who lived by immediate reward, because his lifestyle depended on what he could catch that day. One day, he returned home hungry and desperate, and in that moment of hunger, he traded his birthright for a single meal from Jacob. A day came when Isaac, their father asked for a meal before releasing the blessing. The difference between the two brothers became obvious. Esau, the hunter, went out into the field to look for what he needed. His success depended on uncertainty, whether the hunt would be fruitful, how long it would take, and what conditions he would face. Jacob, the farmer, went to his livestock and took from what he had already grown. What Esau was chasing, Jacob had prepared for. By the time Esau returned from the hunt, tired and late, Jacob had already prepared the meal, served their father, and received the blessing. Isaac blessed Jacob with the primary covenant blessing, the one tied to promise, inheritance, and generational destiny. When Esau came afterward, there was very little left to receive. Jacob receiving the blessing of the birthright escalated the rift between him and Esau. Esau didn't just feel cheated, he felt displaced, and that turned into a threat to kill Jacob, an event that forced Jacob into exile.
Jacob did not leave home chasing opportunity. He ran for his life because Esau threatened to kill him. He knew when strength would escalate destruction and when distance would preserve destiny. Truly, some battles are not meant to be fought. Some exits are not weakness, they are strategy. I quote, "A wise man knows when to fight, but a wiser man knows when to run." Running saved Jacob's life and built his future. Jacob left with nothing but a promise and returned with wealth, family, and influence. Thus, Jacob didn't run because he was weak. He ran because destiny is too valuable to gamble on emotion. Hunters often complain about the same conditions farmers adapt and multiply. Growth thinkers win in bad conditions. Jacob's farming and livestock breeding ability was the reason he excelled in his uncle's house. Even when it was obvious that his uncle, Laban, repeatedly cheated him, Jacob continued to prosper. As a farmer and breeder, he understood patterns, timing, and multiplication. He knew exactly what to do. Instead of reacting emotionally to exploitation, Jacob responded strategically. He worked with what he had, applied knowledge, and leveraged systems of growth. In the end, he outsmarted his uncle, not through confrontation, but through wisdom, and built significant wealth. A man who knows how to grow value will prosper even under bigoted leadership. Esau, on the other hand, became wealthy primarily through inheritance, territory, and force, not cultivation. Although he lost the birthright and the covenant blessing, his father Isaac still blessed him materially. But Esau's blessing brought him prosperity, but not legacy. It is important we understand this part and grasp the lessons. Esau's wealth had no spiritual or generational mandate tied to it. Scripture notes that Esau had many wives, children, servants, and livestock. His wealth grew because of expansion, not refinement. Esau became rich, but his wealth did not carry purpose, unlike Jacob's wealth that carried promise. That's why Jacob's lineage produced nations and legacy, while Esau's lineage eventually faded from power. H. Clarifying my opinion so I don't get misunderstood. This is not a criticism of hunting. I'm not debasing or discrediting professional hunters or anyone whose work involves strength, speed, or force. My assertion doesn't imply they would stay poor forever. Hunting is honorable work, and many hunters do become rich. My point is, a man can get rich by force, but he can only stay wealthy by growth. Also, he can gain wealth without wisdom, but he cannot sustain the wealth without wisdom. It's certainly not about how wealth begins. It's about how wealth survives. Force may produce breakthroughs, but growth produces continuity. Power can open doors, but systems keep doors open. Daily, we see this play out in everywhere. Athletes gain wealth by physical power, but lose it without financial wisdom. Entrepreneurs rise fast through aggression, but collapse without structure. Leaders seize power, but fail without systems. Unveiling the deeper truth, this isn't really about farming or hunting. It's about systems versus impulses. I only used the Jacob-Esau story as a strong metaphor to elaborate my point, and the reason I believe that wealth is not hunted, but grown. Many people chase and handle money like hunters. They lavish and squander everything that enters their hands. Once the money is gone, the story ends and struggle begins again. Others think like farmers. They plant financial seeds through wise investments. Thus, they build systems and structures that continue to generate steady income because they understand that wealth is grown, not hunted. Are you a financial farmer or hunter? Farmers are people who build skills, businesses, and wealth, while hunters are those who only consume money and opportunities, yet remain hungry, and often trade glorious destiny for immediate relief. Impulse was Esau's greatest weakness. Esau traded his future for a meal. Hunger made him short-sighted. In today's world, the future belongs to those who grow what others only consume. In reality, people relate to money in four main ways. Spenders, they consume money. Savers, they preserve money. Givers, they distribute money. Investors, they multiply money. Which category do you fall into? I'm curious to know, because each category has its place, but only investors consistently create sustainable wealth. So the real question is not how much money you make, but what you do with the money once it reaches your hands. What you grow today will glow you tomorrow. This applies in all spheres of life. The seeds you are growing today will feed you tomorrow. The trees you are growing today will shade you tomorrow. In fact, the things you are currently growing are the things that will eventually save you in the future. In finances, the money you are growing today will ultimately save, shelter, and glow you tomorrow. You can't multiply money by saving money. Money not deployed into an investment will certainly decay with inflation. You can never multiply money if all you do is save, spend, or give it away. Truly, you can hardly get rich or wealthy if you don't multiply money. An orange seed that is not planted can never produce an orange tree or bear fruit. In the same way, money that is merely saved does not grow or reproduce. It only multiplies when it is invested. So saving protects and preserves money, but investing money activates it. If seeds are stored forever, there will be no harvest. In the same way, if money is stored forever, there will be no growth. Nobody has ever become wealthy by saving money alone. You can't become wealthy by simply saving money. Money that is saved is safe, but doesn't grow or multiplies. Money that is invested is not safe, but it grows and multiplies. But money that is spent is neither safe, grows, nor multiplies. It is forever gone. Which category do you fall into? Those who spend money, those who save money, those who give money, or those who invest money to grow it? All four are valid at different times, but only one consistently increases financial capacity and lasting stability. Your spending habit plays vital roles in your journey to financial prosperity. The question is not whether you use money, but what role money plays in your life. 1. Is money leaving you? 2. Is money sitting with you? 3. Is money passing through you? 4. Or is money working for you? The growth of money is the bedrock of wealth. Secrets of growing money, though. There are no truly hidden secrets to grow money. It's a common fact, but most people are uninformed. To grow money, you must 1. Invest it. 2. Nurture the investment to protect the money. Why famous people go broke. Do you know the reason majority of sport athletes go broke few years after retiring from the careers? Most professional athletes go broke a few years after retirement, not because they didn't earn enough, but because they hardly grow money. They hunted money, but never farmed it. Many athletes earned money like champions, but many managed it like amateurs. They mostly forget that athletic careers are short and the earning has deadline. Fame creates sudden wealth for them, and as income rises, their lifestyles expand. Lifestyle inflation, bigger homes, larger associates, more dependence, and higher expectations from people. They stop living within means and start living within image. And you know, image is expensive to keep. When the spotlight fades, income stops. There are no systems producing money in their absence. I quote,
You can get rich by exposure, but you can only stay wealthy by cultivation. They hunt income instead of farming it. I have seen so many sports superstars got broke after their successful careers. Most of them were super spenders. They acquired liabilities more than assets. They acquired luxury stuffs for show-offs, exotic cars, yachts, and private jets that cost thousands and millions of money for maintenances. The luxury lifestyle they created kept draining resources even long after their earnings stopped. Most of them didn't grasp the concept of diversification. They waited till after their careers to start venturing into other means of generating revenues, because the standard of lifestyle or image they created need lots of funds to maintain. Some had poor advisors and trusted blindly. They relied on friends, family, or dishonest advisors who mismanaged their funds, pushed bad investments to them, and ended up stealing their money. I have seen many cases of Nigerian former athletes or footballers who waited till their retirements and start building hotels, clubs, and grocery stores. And majority of these businesses flop. Perhaps their influence during their active careers would have given them a lift in the business, because people or their admirers would have patronized them based on their popularity. A lot of these people, the money came in fast and large during their careers. They got carried away by fame and had no transition plan. Sports gave them identity and income. But when retirement came, many had no second skill, no profitable business, and no investment income. So expenses continued, but cash flow disappeared, which often force a lot of them to start selling off their few acquired landed properties to sustain lifestyle. Image. I quote, "Your money must outlive your talent."
You must simplify your lifestyle to earn money and stay rich. My advice is to everybody, you must not be a superstar to learn how to handle resources. It is even better you learn it now, because the earlier you learn this, the better for you. Trust me, you can never win the game of money until you stop paying attention to what people think about you. Sometimes it's the lifestyle you portray and project that creates most of your financial problems. Live a lifestyle that permits you to save and invest money. Stop struggling to look rich, to be accepted, or please others. Never spend money to please anybody. Never empty your pocket to be in the good book of men. Stop building friendships with money. People have short memories. Don't put money where it depreciates. Avoid heavy spending on items that lose value over time, such as expensive cars, gadgets, or trendy designer wear bought mainly for show. Listen, persistent financial struggle is often the result of poor spending habits. Stop pouring money into depreciating items. Instead, channel your resources into assets that appreciate and grow in value. Wealth is built by intention, not impulse. Learn to clearly distinguish between needs and wants. Many things you desire are not necessities. If you continually buy everything you want, a day will come when you cannot afford what you truly need. Many people unknowingly finance liabilities and then wonder why they remain poor, perpetually broke, or trapped in financial hardship. They buy things they do not need with money they can scarcely afford, often to impress people who do not even care about them. Listen to me. You do not need approval that costs you your future. Stop financing liabilities just to look good. That behavior wastes money and quietly pulls you deeper into poverty. Every currency you release without purpose weakens your financial position. Be intentional with your finances. Pay only for value and services actually rendered to you. Stop giving out money unnecessarily. Finally, I quote, "Every currency you release without purpose weakens your financial stability." Lesson 3. Be ruthless if you must make money. In this chapter, my intention is never to promote predatory or unethical practices in the pursuit of money. Although ruthless financial systems may sound or carry negative connotations. But my aim is never to promote a lack of ethical consideration or the brutal exploitation of people. Again, this chapter does not promote predatory or unethical money-making practices.
But for the fact that we live in a competitive society where financial prosperity is mainly driven by strong negotiation skills and competence, I strongly believe that a ruthless approach must be encouraged. I have come to figure out that the reason most millionaires and billionaires are perceived to be ruthless or even brutal in their approach to wealth acquisition is because they show no emotions while making decisions in the game of money. Their mindsets are built and focused purely on profit and long-term viability in the game of money and wealth acquisition. Money flows to the ruthless. Money does not flow to the nicest people, the most talented, the luckiest, or even to those who desperately need it. Money flows to those who are financially ruthless, not cruel, but disciplined, deliberate, and uncompromising in their financial demands. Be kind in character, but ruthless in money management. Money responds to people who seize opportunities, enforce boundaries, make firm decisions, and refuse to mismanage or waste it. It flows to those who are ruthless in preserving, growing, and protecting their resources. In finance, softness leaks money, but discipline attracts money and abundance of it. Money hates nice guys. Being nice without boundaries often comes at a financial cost. People who are too agreeable are easily exploited, taken advantage of, and pressured into poor financial decisions. They lose money through emotions, fear of negative talks, or the desire to please others, and often miss opportunities to create value or negotiate fairly. Listen, kindness is a virtue, but unchecked niceness is a liability. Wealth requires discernment, boundaries, and the ability to say no at times. You can be good-hearted and still be financially firm as well. Don't overstretch niceness. Be kind in character, firm in finance, because emotional spending creates financial regret. We all operate under a ruthless financial system that favors only those who are ruthless in their financial demands. I'm not saying you should be evil to survive. No, you don't have to be rude or show desperation to earn money, but you must be ruthless in your financial decisions and demands. If you have a business or career, don't joke with it. Financial gain is the reason you are into business. Put price tag on your services to others. If people must use you, let them pay you, and stop serving them for free. Put price tag on whatever you are offering or rendering to others. Let people pay for your services because you have bills to pay too, as a human being. I tell you the truth, your financial obligations will not vanish because you are a nice person. You need money for the maintenance and sustenance of your livelihood. And without money, you will remain a slave to those who hold the keys to your financial survival. The ruthless strategy of Joseph. Lack of money turns dependence into modern slavery. Without money, freedom is compromised and survival is dictated by those who control resources. According to the Bible in Genesis 47:14-26, by selling grain to the people, Joseph eventually collected all the money in Egypt and Canaan, and he put the money in Pharaoh's treasury. Joseph, during a severe famine, collected all the money from Egypt and Canaan in exchange for grain, bringing it into Pharaoh's house. The famine was so severe, which eventually led to the people trading livestock and then themselves for food. However, Joseph's strategic collection of all the money, livestock, and lands in Egypt in exchange for grains established a systematic securing of resources for Pharaoh that continued even after the famine years. Listen, you can never make money or be wealthy if you can't make money off people. Making money off people means to legitimately earn money or have an income by providing value, services, or products to others. I'm not encouraging you to criminally extort people without genuinely providing or adding values to them. Financial system is ruthless. Money has no emotion. It doesn't care if you are a nice person. It doesn't care if you are poor, handicapped, or starving. Money is never friendly. It won't come because you are a nice person.
You can't attract money by merely wishing or crying out for it. Money only responds to systems and flows through structures to those who position themselves to attract it. The truth is that the financial system is ruthless, and only those who are ruthless make money or take advantage of the system. Money is transactional. It moves, rotates, and flows through exchanges of value. For you to earn money, someone else must part with theirs, not necessarily because they are harmed, but because value has been exchanged. Money does not appear in isolation. It is transferred. Therefore, the popular motivational saying that no one must lose for you to rise does not strictly apply to money acquisition. Money is embedded in people and institutions, and it is accessed through offering value that others are willing to pay for. In every transaction, money leaves one hand and enters another. The key is not exploitation, but value extraction through service, problem solving, or opportunity creation. Those who understand this do not feel guilty about earning money. They focus on delivering value strong enough that people willingly release their money. Money is not found in the air. It is found in people, and it moves once value is created. One person's problem is another person's opportunity to earn money. Every problem carries money in it, and value creators are the ones who extract it. Joseph was just a ruthless sales or businessman. He didn't show emotions in the midst of the famine. He sold grains to the people and collected money. Their cries and tears didn't stop him from taking their money in exchange for the grains. You are not into business to make friends, but to make money. Put emotions aside. I'm not asking you to be evil. I'm saying be ruthless and brutal honesty. Stop attaching emotions and religion when it comes to making money. The financial system doesn't reward the weakening. It only rewards those who are bold, brutal with the truths, and ruthless in possessing money. Money doesn't follow goodness. It follows reality. You need to be ruthless to make money. Ruthless, but not in the sense of criminality and rascality, but to be strategic and maximize every given opportunity to make money. Being downtrodden does not exempt individuals from financial obligations. Even in religious settings, the principles that governed the acquisition of money tended to be ruthless as those in secular life. According to a biblical event, Jesus was at the Jerusalem temple, observing those who gave offerings, and a poor widow puts in 2 small copper coins, her entire living. Jesus commended her and said she gave more than anyone, as the others gave from their abundance, but she gave all her livelihood. One would have thought that Jesus should condemn the act of accepting offerings from the poor. No, he rather praised her willingness to give all her livelihood. The system may be rewarding, but it is ruthless as well. That's why Elijah didn't spare the poor widow's last meal. Be ruthless in your financial decisions and demands within your craft. Now, according to a biblical event, about a woman who had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had suffered a great deal from many doctors, and over the years she had spent everything she had to pay them, but she had gotten no better. In fact, she had gotten worse. Mark 5:25-26. The physicians who treated the poor woman with the issue of blood didn't show compassion in their service to her. Despite her condition worsening and her resources being exhausted by the cost of treatment, they continued to take her money. This reflects the ruthlessness of the financial system, where payment is demanded regardless of suffering or outcome. Have you ever wondered why hospitals or doctors often demand payment or financial settlement before treating even a critically ill patient? Have you noticed why airline and transport companies increase fares during festive periods, despite the same routes, duration, and destinations? Or why a lawyer will insist on legal fees before defending a detained or remanded client? These realities exist because systems are not emotional, they are transactional. They operate on structure, demand, value, and compensation, not compassion. The system does not pause because of urgency, need, or desperation. This is not cruelty, it is how organized systems sustain themselves. Value must be exchanged before service is rendered.
Those who understand this do not complain about the system. They position themselves to thrive within it. Thus, financial systems don't run on pity. They run on payment. Money. Money responds to structure, not sentiment. If you want consistent access to solutions, services, and opportunities, you must understand and respect how the system works, and prepare financially to engage it. The financial system does not operate on emotions. It is not sentimental, friendly, or compassionate. The laws and principles of wealth creation favor those who approach money with discipline, firmness, and tenacity. In this sense, the system rewards the financially ruthless, not the careless, but the decisive. Many people remain poor, not because they lack faith, talent, or goodness, but because they are too emotionally fragile to engage the realities of money. They allow guilt, fear, misplaced humility, or sentiment to interfere with financial decisions. Money does not respond to emotions. It responds to structure, strategy, and action. The only way to defeat a bull is to grab it by the horns. Likewise, the only way to overcome poverty and lack is to confront them directly, without fear, without sentiment, and without excuses. You cannot negotiate with poverty. You must outgrow it. In the game of money, only those who are ruthless in building wealth prevail. Final word. Be disciplined. Be strategic. Be ruthless against poverty. Lesson 4. Stop chasing money and start attracting money. The saying, if you spend your time chasing butterflies, they'll fly away. But if you spend your time making a beautiful garden, the butterflies will come to you, illustrates the contrast between chasing and attracting. Chasing implies a constant pursuit, driven by urgency and lack. Attracting, on the other hand, involves intentionally creating the right conditions that naturally draw desired outcomes toward you. Rather than forcefully seeking results, attraction focuses on growth, value, and sustainability, and allowing success to emerge naturally. One of the greatest misconceptions about making money is the belief that money must be chased in order to be earned. Many of us grew up watching our parents and countless others pursue money ceaselessly throughout their lives, yet still remain poor or barely able to survive. Today, we have unknowingly joined the same cycle. We have become part of a culture of money chasing, trapped in a web that promises reward but delivers nothing. If we fail to break away from this pattern, we risk ending up exactly like those before us. True financial progress comes not from chasing money, but from building structures that attract it. When systems, skills, and value are deliberately created, money follows naturally, just as butterflies are drawn to a well-tended garden. Money chasers versus money attractors. Never chase money. Build systems that attract it. Let me say it again. Don't chase money. Create value, structure it into a system, and money will follow. Stop running after money. Make money run to your system. Quote, chasers work harder, attractors build smarter. Wealth follows systems, not hustle alone. Poor people chase money, rich people attract it. The poor wake up every day running after money because they lack systems that generate and attract it. The rich, on the other hand, build structures, businesses, investments, and systems that pull money toward them. That is why rich people can earn money even while they sleep or go on vacation. Their wealth is not tied solely to effort or time, but to systems that work continuously on their behalf. Stop chasing money, build systems, and let money chase you. If money stops when you rest, you don't have a system yet. Don't get it twisted. The reason rich people still work hard despite their wealth is not because they are chasing money. The fact that many wealthy individuals are late-night workers or early morning risers is because they are committed to maintaining, optimizing, and protecting the systems that attract money to them. They work to strengthen structures, improve processes, manage people, and guard assets. Money flows to their systems, not their sweat alone. Their effort is directed toward preservation, growth, and sustainability, not pursuit. Quote, "The rich don't chase money, they manage what attracts money." Dubious money chasers. A criminal does not build systems that attract money. Instead, he chases it daily through violence and illegality. Fraudsters, drug peddlers, and kidnappers all share this flaw. They lack viable systems of wealth creation. What they practice is not value creation, but the relentless pursuit of money through illicit means. They are always hunting for the next illegitimate opportunity. On the other hand, there are people who chase money legitimately. They do not steal or bypass processes, yet many of them still struggle financially. The reason is because they believe money must be chased rather than attracted. Frankly, without systems that create value, even honest effort often leads to exhaustion instead of abundance. You need systems to attract money. You must build consistent channels or systems of cash flow if you truly desire wealth. Those who make money while they sleep are not lucky. They are system builders. They have created structures that attract money to them daily, with or without their physical presence. A man who builds a system that attracts money continues to earn whether he is awake or asleep. But a man who chases money loses money while he sleeps because his income depends entirely on his alertness and effort. He must be awake to earn money. The man who attracts money does not depend on constant motion. His system works continuously. Even when he rests, his money-attracting system does not sleep, and so money keeps flowing in his direction. Lesson 5. Money is a powerful tool for empowerment. Indeed, money is a powerful tool for empowerment. It is essential for building a business, establishing a career, sustaining a marriage, and creating wealth for long-term financial security and freedom. Beyond survival, money empowers us to pursue our aspirations, actualize our dreams, and fulfill our earthly purpose. Unfortunately, most people do not understand how to properly handle money as a tool for empowerment. However, we must first understand the definition, function, and purpose of a tool in order to fully grasp the idea of money as a tool in human hands. A tool used to cultivate, establish, and create desirable human realities. By definition, a tool is a device, especially one held in the hand, which is used to carry out a specific function. Just as a mechanic needs tools to fix a faulty vehicle, or a carpenter requires tools to make furniture, the right tool makes work easier and more effective. In the same way, money functions as a tool. When properly understood and correctly applied, it enables us to accomplish certain tasks more efficiently, build stability, and establish long-term goals for the future. Money facilitates the realization of our earthly pursuits, dreams, and assignments. Money is enabler, a facilitator, helper, supporter, and assistant. It aids and plays vital roles in our everyday lives. It's indeed a tool to establish or actualize our visions, dreams, aspirations, and create values of wealth. Although money itself has no power, its power lies in how humans use it as a tool of empowerment. Money is a tool that enables the fulfillment of earthly purposes and aspirations. I must say, a person who lacks money often lacks empowerment. Without financial capacity, an individual is restricted from actualizing certain possibilities in life. Many opportunities, whether in education, business, family, or personal growth, require financial strength to move from intention to reality. Money itself is neutral. It can become either a blessing or a curse depending on an individual's perception, desires, and priorities. It is not money that defines purpose, but the mindset guiding its use. One's understanding of financial empowerment ultimately determines the function and direction of money or wealth in their life. Money is a tool of empowerment, but wealth is the empowerment that the tool cultivates. Money and wealth are not the same. Money functions as a transactional instrument. It is a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and a store of value. Wealth, however, represents a person's net worth and includes assets that generate income, such as property, businesses, and other investments. Financial empowerment can become either a blessing or a problem depending on what money represents to an individual. A person may be empowered with money as a tool and still create problems rather than solutions through its misuse. Conversely, another individual may use the same tool to build stability, purpose, and positive impact. Ultimately, the outcome of financial empowerment is shaped not by money itself, but by human perception, orientation, and desire. Money empowers, but character and vision determine what that empowerment produces. Empowerment amplifies character. Let's emphasize on the issue of the biblical prodigal son who lavished his financial empowerment on prodigality. The biblical account of the prodigal son highlights how financial empowerment, when misdirected, can be squandered on prodigality. Rather than stewarding his resources with wisdom and purpose, he lavished his inheritance on reckless living, turning opportunity into loss. As I'm curious to know, was it a blessing to the prodigal son who requested and received his portion of the family fortune? I believe the answer is definitely no. It would have been a blessing if he had prioritized investment over entertainment and enjoyment through which he lavished his resources. What was actually meant to be a powerful tool in his hands to create a better livelihood for himself was wasted in the riotous lifestyle that he embraced. Don't waste money acquiring liabilities if you truly want to get rich or build wealth for long-term financial security. Any money that enters your hand should be preserved, protected, and invested wisely. Don't always be in a hurry to spend money. Gadgets, exotic cars, designer clothes, and shoes shouldn't be the first thing to consider each time money enters your hand. It is paramount you think of investment and other ways to multiply the money.
Money amplifies intention when purpose is undefined. Money becomes a destructive tool of empowerment when its purpose is undefined. According to the biblical account in Exodus 12:35-36, the Israelites received wealth from the Egyptians at the time of their emancipation from Egypt. Thus, they received silver, gold, and clothing from the Egyptians, wealth granted at the moment of their emancipation. The Israelites came out of slavery with wealth because God favored them, causing them to obtain treasures from the Egyptians as a tool of empowerment for their journey through the wilderness toward the promised land of Canaan. However, in a moment of distress in the wilderness, they redirected that wealth to create a golden calf, turned it into a god, and worshipped it. The same God who blessed them with wealth was displeased with their actions and punished them severely. The riches did not change, but the people changed. Their intention changed. Because in distress, undefined purpose allowed wealth to be redirected from provision to idolatry. Their riches were meant to support a journey, not replace God. The same reality in our world today. Money has become a master with scores of slaves. It is now a god with a multitude of worshippers, which is never supposed to be. To me, money remains a servant that runs through the fingers of men to actualize the intentions of their hearts. Though so many people have ignorantly switched the position of money, they have assumed the position of money as a servant and placed money to the position of a master, because they have no ideal of the purpose and functionalities of money as a tool. Money is a tool to empower us in fulfilling life purpose. God empowers us financially to establish us and to create wealth so that we may be a blessing to our world. Financial empowerment is not an end in itself. It is a means through which God's goodness and provision can flow to others. The parable of the rich fool in Luke 12:13-21 illustrates the danger of hoarding wealth and failing to put money to good use. It tells the story of a man who acquired great wealth but chose to store it up selfishly rather than use it to bless others, especially the poor. In his pride, he boasted about his abundance, yet that very night his life was taken from him and his wealth became meaningless. Sometimes wealth is taken away from wicked people. At other times, wicked people are taking away from their wealth. The fact is that wealth is never meant to be hoarded while people who need help are starving. The Bible strongly condemns such behavior
and calls it evil. The major lesson we can take out from the parable of the rich fool is that we should not hoard wealth, but distribute it for the betterment of humanity. God empowers us with money so that we can be a blessing to others. He blesses us financially to solve problems, uplift lives, and create value in the world. Money shouldn't be used as a tool to fulfill evil. Although money as a tool can be used to facilitate evil depending on our individual reasons for possessing money, I'm not saying money is evil or possession of it is a sin, because money is neutral in its nature. It only runs through the fingers of people who hold it in order to actualize their heart desires and intentions, either positively or negatively. The story of Haman in the Bible illustrates how wealth can be weaponized for evil purposes. He suggested to Xerxes, "If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury." Esther 3:9. Haman, a wicked man, sought to eliminate the Jews living in exile by offering a portion of his wealth to the royal treasury as a bribe to advance his malicious agenda. His wealth became a bait to facilitate injustice and oppression. Delighting in the misuse of power and resources, he attempted to destroy an innocent people. His donation to the treasury masked genocidal intent. However, as a consequence of his wickedness, the very evil he plotted against Mordecai turned back upon him, and he was destroyed by his own scheme. What Haman built for Mordecai became his own downfall. Money can empower both good and evil, depending on the source and the intent behind its use. Just as God can empower people financially to bless humanity, Satan can also empower people with money to create chaos, promote injustice, and destroy lives. Financial empowerment, when guided by evil intentions, becomes a tool for harm rather than healing. This reality shows that money itself is morally neutral. It simply amplifies what already exists in the human heart. In the hands of someone driven by greed, pride, or wickedness, money facilitates destruction. In the hands of someone guided by purpose, compassion, and righteousness, the same money becomes a force for good. Therefore, money is a tool of empowerment, but the direction of that empowerment is determined by intention, character, and spiritual alignment. Money doesn't change or alters people's character. It only amplifies what already exists. Possession of money cannot turn an angel of light to an angel of darkness, nor turn an angel of darkness to an angel of light. Because money doesn't change people, it only reveals and amplifies the content of what already exists. When you empower an idiot with money, you amplify his idiotism. Also, when you empower a person who is driven by love, compassion, and generosity with money, you amplified his generosity. He enriches more lives around him. The possession of money motivates people to do certain things and also discourages them from doing others, based on their personal priorities and values. What money enables or suppresses in a person's life often reveals what truly matters to them. In many cases, having money reduces people's zeal and passion for the things of God, as comfort and self-sufficiency can dull spiritual hunger. On the other hand, a lack of money can also weaken spiritual focus. Financial pressure often overwhelms people to the point where they lose zeal for God and see little value in personal growth, including reading books or seeking intellectual empowerment on financial matters. This irony reveals that both abundance and lack can distract the human heart. True balance comes not from how much money one has, but from how one understands money as a tool. Money is a tool that enables us to build a better future. This truth is clearly illustrated in the parable of the talents, where a master entrusted his servants with money before traveling to a far country. According to the parable, Matthew 25:14-30, 3 servants were each tooled up with talents, money, not equally, but according to their individual capacity. The intent was not mere possession, but productive stewardship. Now, listen on how each servant ended up. The first servant received 5 talents. He traded with them and gained 5 more. His money was used as a tool for growth and value creation. He was rewarded with greater responsibility by their master. The second servant received 2 talents. He also traded and doubled what was entrusted to him. Though his starting point was smaller, but his faithfulness produced increase, and he received the same praise as the first servant. The third servant received 1 talent. Out of fear and poor decision, he buried it in the ground. The money produced nothing. What was meant to build a future was neutralized by inactivity and fear. At the end, he was referred as a lazy and unfaithful servant. It is no hidden truth that money is a tool used to establish and cultivate the realities of our future, shaping our overall financial destiny. When money is used wisely and purposefully, it creates a parallel path toward prosperity and wealth. However, the abuse or neglect of money produces opposite outcomes: regret, stagnation, and poverty. This truth is illustrated in the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30, where the third servant hid his master's money instead of multiplying it. His fear and misuse of the entrusted resources led to loss, sorrow, and judgment. The lesson here is clear. Money rewards responsibility and punishes neglect. How we use it today determines whether it becomes a tool for growth and abundance or a cause of weeping and loss tomorrow, like how the third servant ended up. Listen, what you do with your financial empowerment will surely determine your future realities of financial fame or shame. Always consider money or financial empowerment as a tool to cultivate a glorious future and destiny. Lastly, don't always think of enjoyment with financial empowerment, but consider investment before entertainment. Strategize on where or how to multiply the financial empowerment before financial enjoyment. Strictly enforce a financial discipline on yourself so you can stay financially relevant and powerful. I quote, "Money is a tool, not a trophy. It is given to be used, not merely kept for pleasure."
Lesson 6. Money is everywhere, yet you are broke. Money is everywhere, but the reason many people do not have it is because no one is obligated to give it to them freely. A lack of money does not mean money is scarce. It means value has not yet been exchanged. Money is everywhere, yet you are broke because no one is willing to hand it to you freely. The money you are praying for already exists in someone else's hands. It is waiting to be attracted, not by desperation, but by value. Money responds to usefulness, service, skill, and solutions. When your value increases, your access to money increases naturally. Money is not moved by prayers alone. It is moved by purpose, productivity, and problem solving. Prayer may open doors, but value earns rewards. If you increase your value, money will follow naturally. Money is not scarce. You simply lack values to attract money. The values you create are what attracts money to you. Make yourself so valuable that some people can't do without your services or products. You can't make money if you are a liability to people instead of an asset. So, make yourself an asset with a price tag. Money is everywhere, hidden in opportunities that are disguised as problems. Every problem is an opportunity for money to be earned. Money is a reward for solving problems through services or products. So let me ask you this. Why should people give you their money? What problems are you solving that deserve a financial reward? What value are you creating or adding to people's lives to earn it? You can't be complaining of being broke or poor while you are idle or merely solving unrewarding problems. The easiest way to attract money from people is to offer them solutions to their problems. Hence, the number of individuals you are meeting their needs through your services or products will determine your financial reward and capacity. When you solve a big problem, you will get a bigger reward, and when you solve a smaller problem, you will get a smaller reward. So, the volume of problems you are solving or the number of individuals you are meeting their needs will determine your financial rewards, capacity, and success. Values determine rewards.
The class of individuals you are meeting their needs will determine the capacity of your financial rewards. We saw it played out in the life of King David, an action that created his path to prominence according to the scripture. By killing Goliath, David solved a problem for a king and the entire nation of Israel, and instantly earned his way to the top, became an instant national hero. Joseph, too, solved a problem for King Pharaoh and ushered himself to prominence. Initially, Joseph solved a problem for 2 prisoners by interpreting their dreams, yet he was forgotten for more than 2 years. However, the moment he interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh, he rose instantly from prison to prominence and became a national leader. Note here, poor prisoner forgot Joseph, but a powerful king promoted him, not because Joseph changed, but because the level of the problem changed. Even the king's cupbearer would never have remembered Joseph if Pharaoh had not encountered a problem he could not solve. This reveals a powerful principle. Value is rewarded in proportion to the problem it solves and the person it serves. Small problems bring small rewards. Great problems attract great opportunities. Joseph's gift was always valuable, but it took a king-sized problem to reveal its full reward. The story, recorded in Genesis, teaches us that money, promotion, and influence follow relevance. Solve problems for those with capacity, and your value will no longer be ignored. Listen, the quality of people whose problems you solve will determine your level of affluence and influence. Those who understand business should grasp this principle quickly. One wealthy client can create massive impact through consistent patronage, just as a very large number of low-income clients can generate significant returns through volume. Financial reward flows by who you serve or how many people you serve. Solving problems for people with capacity leads to higher compensation, while solving simple problems for many people leads to climbable income. Therefore, be intentional. Aim to solve problems or meet the daily needs of wealthy individuals, or position yourself to serve a great number of people effectively. In both cases, value creates reward, but scale and capacity determine the size of that reward. Quote, "Small problems bring small rewards. Great problems attract great opportunities." Lesson 7. Life is difficult without money. Everything becomes difficult when you don't have money. Life turns into a daily battle when you lack the financial capacity to meet basic necessities. Honestly, this is not something that needs explanation. It is a lived reality. Struggling to meet the daily needs of life is a clear sign of poverty, and poverty has no romantic cure. Just make money or keep struggling. Poverty is the inability to finance daily necessities of life, like feeding, clothing, and shelter. Struggling to handle daily financial obligations is indeed a sign of hardship. Lack of money is the root of all frustrations. Life is easy with money, but the absence of money is the root of most struggles in life. When money is lacking, everything becomes harder. Choices shrink, pressure increases, and progress slows. Lack of money severely limits how far a person can go in life. Money is to a person what gasoline is to a car. Without fuel, the car may exist, but it won't travel far. In the same way, without money, purpose remains largely unfulfilled because nearly everything in life runs on money. The majority of human responsibilities are powered by money. Without it, duty becomes burden, and survival becomes a daily fight. Every human endeavor requires finances. Money is the lifeblood of existence. It is the oxygen of modern society. Without it, you don't just struggle, you suffocate. In today's world, lacking money doesn't merely slow you down, it renders you incapacitated. Talent without money is ignored. Vision without money is powerless. Survival itself becomes a negotiation. A modern life needs money to thrive. A modern life demands money. Unless you live in a cave, disconnected from society and survival systems, money is not optional. To live in the city or even in your village while meeting your needs and desires, you must spend money. Truly, without money, you can barely function in today's world. Almost nothing can be done without money, directly or indirectly. That is how powerful and unavoidable money is in today's world. A modern life requires a monetary value in exchange for modern facilities. Money is a requirement for access to modern facilities as the world is structured today. Money is not a luxury in the modern world. It is a necessity. It determines who gets access to opportunities and who remains locked out. It decides who can harness resources and who is left struggling. There are two undeniable reasons money is essential today: access to basic needs and access to services. Without money, both become restricted or completely out of reach. 1. Basic needs. Money is a necessity in meeting human basic needs. Lack of money makes it impossible or extremely difficult to meet fundamental or essential human needs like food, clothing, and shelter. 2. Access to services. Access to certain services will unapologetically be unavailable, limited, or almost impossible to access without payments, which includes education, transportation, telecom, and healthcare services. You can hardly meet basic human needs and services without monetary payments, unless they come in form of aids or charity. The modern society is structured around money. Basic needs demand payment. Services demand payment. Opportunities demand payment. Unless charity or aid intervenes, money remains the gatekeeper. That's not cruel realism, it's how the system works today. Quote, "A modern life requires a monetary value in exchange for modern facilities." Lesson 8. Money should be made daily. Daily debits without daily credits ruin finances and gradually lead to poverty. Let's be frank. Daily debits without daily credits destroy finances. It is permissible to say, when money goes out every day but only comes in rarely, poverty won't be an accident, rather, an expected end. My personal goal has always been clear: to build systems that generate daily cash flow, not dependence on a single income stream. Because daily financial survival requires daily financial consistency. Wealth demands multiple sources. Anyone who gets paid only 12 times in 365 days is trapped in a cycle, not building wealth. Unarguably, monthly salaries may sustain life, but they rarely create financial freedom. There is no truly wealthy individual who does not earn money daily. Whether through diversified investments, businesses, or leveraged opportunities, wealth produces cash flow continuously. Those who are rich have money working for them every day, and those who are not are forced to work for money and wait to be paid. Money is meant to be made daily, not just weekly, monthly, or yearly. If you are going to have a system to generate money only weekly, monthly, or yearly, then you need to make it multiple channels, not just one source or channel of weekly or monthly incomes. You need to create 3, 4, or more constant channels of weekly, monthly, or yearly cash flow or earnings to achieve your goal of financial freedom or wealth creation. Even a footballer who earns millions weekly would likely go broke if he doesn't create daily or weekly sources of revenue after retirement. That's why a lot of civil servants die being broke and poor, because you can't earn money 12 times in 365 days in a year repeatedly for 30 years and expect to be wealthy while depending on pension arrears. A house owner who depends on yearly rent of only one property will always lack money, unless the person has multiple houses or shops to get rent from yearly. Most landlords/landladies are always in a hurry when it's time for rent, because that's their major source of income. And that's why it's not always good to rent a house or shop which happens to be the only source of financial income of the owner. Again, I have realized that the inability or lack of a system to earn money daily is the reason a lot of people are struggling financially. I'm not talking about the people who only earn money daily for feeding. I'm talking about having a system that will continually generate money in order to build wealth, and not just taking care of immediate daily needs. Wealth is built on multiple streams of income and consistent daily cash flow. One source is never enough to create real financial prosperity. Diversification is not optional. It is the foundation of wealth. Money must be made every day because money is spent every day. The logic is simple. If you do not earn daily, but you spend daily, you are moving backward financially. It is only acceptable not to make money every day if you also do not spend money every day. But for those of us who spend money daily to solve daily problems, earning money every day is not a choice. It is a requirement. Daily debits without daily credits ruin finances. Bills arrive daily. Waiting for 30 days to earn salary, while expenses show up every day, is a guaranteed path to frustration. Financial pressure does not operate on a monthly schedule. Money problems don't come weekly or monthly, they come daily. No day passes without a financial demand. And daily problems require daily income, not delayed paychecks. All financial problems, yearly, monthly, weekly, or daily, are solved with daily income. Even yearly obligations require daily earnings to prepare for them. If you pay rent yearly, you don't magically earn it once a year. You accumulate it daily. This is why monthly salary earners often struggle to save for yearly rent. The inflow is delayed and restrictive. In contrast, a daily earner finds it easier to build toward large obligations because money is coming in consistently. You need a system of daily financial income or cash flow. Do not get too comfortable being paid only 12 times in 365 days while carrying daily bills on your head. Monthly salaries create delayed relief in a world that demands constant payment. Hourly or daily paid work, though often underestimated, offers one powerful advantage: immediate cash flow. It allows people to earn today, solve today's problems, and still prepare for future needs. Salaried jobs, on the other hand, force workers to wait until month end even when financial needs are urgent. This delay is a major source of stress. Both systems have advantages and disadvantages, but in a world of daily expenses, frequent income provides flexibility, resilience, and control. Quote, "Waiting for 30 days for a salary while expenses show up every day is a guaranteed path to frustration."
Lesson 9. Get rich and stay rich. Getting rich and staying rich are poles apart. Getting rich is about making money. Staying rich is about managing money. Most people have the ability to make money, but often lack the ability to manage the money, which is enough reason they hardly get to the pinnacle of financial prosperity. Let me say it again. Many people know how to earn, but very few know how to maintain. Making money is only the first step, but preserving, growing, and protecting it is what determines lasting wealth. This is why many never reach the pinnacle of financial prosperity. It's not a lack of opportunity or ability to earn, but often lack of financial discipline, structure, and wisdom. Earning money is skill, but managing money is wisdom. Money that is not managed will always find a way to disappear. Wealth is not built by income alone. It is built by decisions made after the money arrives. Those who stay rich understand that earning money is temporary, but management, it is permanent. Quote, "The difference between rich and broke is not income, but management. Making money is one step, maintaining it is what keeps you rich. Money made is progress, while money maintained is prosperity." It's easy to make money, but not so easy to keep, maintain, and grow money. The biblical prodigal son didn't realize this fact until he got broke. He got his own share of the family fortunes, traveled to a far distant land, and lavished the fortunes on a riotous lifestyle. It was so easy for him to get the money from his father, but it was so difficult for him to manage the money. He wasted his money, became poor, and ended up an employee of a local farmer. Literally, he became a former rich dude, as we have them today in our societies.
There are literally diverse reasons people hardly stay rich after making so much money, and these are my reasons people don't stay rich. Lifestyle inflation. Problems. Lack of investment. Poor financial management. Financial illiteracy. Let me explain further. 1. Lifestyle inflation. Money comes in and standards rise. Bigger house, nicer car, I deserve this and that mindset sets in, income goes up, but savings stays flat or even worse. 2. Problems. This is heavy. Even before money arrives, problems are already piled up. Health issues, family emergencies, bad relationships, addiction, poor advisors. Money doesn't just get spent, it gets drained by problems. 3. Lack of investment. Money not deployed vanishes or loses value, and without assets there won't cash flow. Investment creates cash flow. 4. Poor financial management. Money disappears when it is poorly managed. Without budgets, no controls, and not paying attention to little financial matters or leaks, with time, the small leaks will result to disaster. 5. Financial illiteracy. This is the root of all the others. Not understanding leverage, risk, compounding, or diversification makes people easy targets for scams, bad deals, and bad habits. People often think that they need all the money in the world to be wealthy or fulfill financial dreams. What they don't often realize is that sometimes it's not about what comes in, instead, what goes out that shapes financial future. Thus, high income without systems leads temporary wealth, but moderate income with systems leads lasting wealth. Invest money for your future. The future is not a place or a destination. It has no arrival point. There is no specific location called the future. The future is the continuous projection of our daily actions. It is shaped by the past and built by what we do in the present. Today is the future we once dreamed about and talked about in the past. And one major reason many people are financially struggling today is because they failed to invest for this moment when they had the chance. What you do with your money today is what your tomorrow will look like. In the future we are heading toward, we will all face financial burdens. The only way to secure our financial future is to invest in it today. Money is not always easy to make. In fact, it often takes far more energy to make money than it does to lose it. That's why we must be intentional. Do your best to earn, to grow, and to protect your money. Get rich, but more importantly, stay rich. Because when you are broke, financial help is rarely available, and survival becomes much harder. Quote, get rich, but more importantly, stay rich.
Lesson 10. It requires 2 hands to make money, which are the hand that labors and the hand that favors. Labor represents effort, discipline, skill, and consistency. Favor represents grace, opportunity, and divine backing, which effort alone cannot produce. One without the other limits results. Scripture makes this truth clear. Moses says to the Israelites in Deuteronomy 8:18, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth." This shows that while we work, the ability and opportunity to produce wealth come from God. Proverbs 10:4 says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." This confirms that favor does not replace labor, our effort is required. Psalm 127:1 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain." Labor without favor leads to exhaustion. Favor without labor leads to wasted opportunity. But when the hand that labors meets the hand that favors, wealth is established and sustained. God's hand of favor. Psalm 90:17 says, "May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands." God's hand of favor signifies His hand of support upon a person. God can support you by creating job or business opportunities for you, or embedding you with creative ideas and innate potentials for financial prosperity. Man's hands of labor.
According to Proverbs 12:24, diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. A man's hands of labor signifies the physically effort in getting things done. It is every man's duty to work out his financial prosperity. Conversely, it takes God's hand of favor and a man's hand of labor to make money and create wealth. One without the other will lead to frustration, stagnation, or poverty. A man's hand of labor without God's hand of favor results in frustration, much effort, but little reward. God's hand of favor without a man's hand of labor results in stagnation or poverty, opportunity without action. Thus, when labor aligns with favor and effort meets grace, wealth will be created and sustained. God's hands of favor is what open doors for easiness of labor. Two hands are always better than one, especially in wealth acquisition. We all need God's hand of favor in our daily labor and hustle for survival, for financial well-being, and for a better livelihood. Labor without favor and favor without labor ultimately produce the same result: stagnation and backwardness. Therefore, do not engage in labor without seeking God's favor, and when God favors you, do not be idle. Let your hands work, and let His hand lead. Quote, God's hands of favor is what open doors for easiness of labor.
Lesson 11. Your business money is not your personal money. Business capital versus personal money. Do not use business funds for personal expenses or pleasure if you want to succeed in business. Business funds are not personal funds. Business capital exists to grow, sustain, and expand the business, while personal funds are meant to cover individual needs and wants. When these two are mixed, confusion replaces clarity and growth becomes difficult. Failure to separate business capital from personal finances often results in constant financial shortages, poor cash flow, and business stagnation. One major reason many businesses fail is constant fund withdrawal by the owners. When owners repeatedly pull money out of the business to fund personal or unrelated expenses without reinvesting or replacing those funds, the business slowly loses its strength. You must understand that cash flow tightens, operations suffer, growth stalls, and eventually the business stagnates or collapses. A business is not an ATM that you keep taking out funds. If you starve it, it cannot grow. Thus, sustainable businesses survive because profits are reinvested, not repeatedly drained. Financial mismanagement is the major reason why so many businesses die. Although there are other major factors why businesses fail aside poor financial management, other considerable factors why businesses fail could be economic downturns, poor planning, lack of innovation, lack of focus, vision, and poor marketing, etc. But the primary culprit of business failure is financial issues: insufficient funding of the business, lack of cash flow, or unhealthy financial management. However, people always have wrong or negative assumptions about why businesses fail. But the fact is that most business failures are not caused by bad government policies, environmental factors, or demonic afflictions, and peripheral forces as often assume. The truth is that most business owners are just terrible in handling finances. Oftentimes, they lack financial structure and hardly differentiate or separate financial capital from profit. Financial capital is the lifeblood of every business. Financial capital is essential to fund initial expenses when starting up a business. It is cash on hand for running day-to-day operations of the business. Thus, it covers bills, rent, utilities, salaries, and other operating costs. Business capital refers to the money available to fund business operations and growth, while profit is the financial gain a business makes after deducting all expenses from its revenue. It refers to the money left over after covering the costs of producing goods or services and running the business. As I previously noted, financial capital is the lifeblood of every business. Though a good business structure can keep a business afloat, but if the finance is terribly managed, the business will sink. A healthy capital structure is crucial for the financial stability and growth of a business.
You have no right for pleasure until your business grows. The Bibles say in Proverbs 24:27, "Develop your business first before building your house." This principle teaches order and priority. A business must be established, strengthened, and made profitable before personal comforts are pursued. When business capital is diverted to personal pleasure, the foundation meant to produce lasting wealth is weakened. Personal expenditure is usually what kills business capital. Attending to personal expenses from your business profits or capital will stagnate the growth of your business. If profits are reinvested into the business will surely thrive and expand. But if the profits are channeled into other areas aside from the business, the growth of the business will be stunted. Personal expenditure is money that you spend on yourself to take care of your personal needs. Your living expenses or expenditure includes food, clothing, electricity, rent, taxes, and entertainment. The pressure of meeting personal needs is the reason most people mess up their business capitals. The fact is that you can never do well in business or boast of a robust business growth if your business profits or capital keep going into personal expenditures. Business capital is never meant to be touched because that's the lifeblood of the business. Your capital is the pillar of your business. Once the pillar collapses, the business will crumble.
Your business needs to survive first for you to survive. Feed your business first by putting every resource into the business so the business can feed you later in life. Without growth, your business will not glow. Most business owners think that they are into business to solve their personal problems, even though that's right. But the fact is that the growth and sustainability of the business is more crucial than your personal expenses and pleasures. If you keep dipping your hands into your business capital to run personal things instead of growing the business, chances are both you and the business will be stagnated or crumble. Let's take, for instance, a small business that generates within 200,000 naira on a monthly basis, and the business owner's monthly living expenditure is above 200,000 naira, and that being the owner's single source of income. How on earth do you expect that business thrives? That's why it's advisable to have multiple streams of income. You must spend below your profit or earnings if you must succeed in business. Your earning ability should match or be proportional to your spending ability. If you spend more than you earn or your business generates, your finances will be jeopardized. If you must spend high, then you must earn high as well. Let's assume again, as a business owner, if you sell a product for 100 naira and the cost price of that product is 70 naira, your profit is 30 naira. Now, after gross and operation profits, whatever that's left as your net profit can be reinvested into the business, or half of it can be reinvested, while the rest is kept as saves to stay afloat in the business. Don't just blow up every money you earned in business. Many people sell a product for 100,000 naira and immediately channel the entire amount toward personal needs without refunding the capital or reinvesting in the business. This habit is one of the major reasons businesses fail. When funds are constantly withdrawn from a business instead of being put back into it, growth becomes impossible. A business cannot survive on constant extraction. If you keep pulling money out without replenishing it, your time in that business is numbered. You must set up a business account. Your personal account must not be used to receive business funds. Set up a business account for accountability and proper recording of business finances. It is usually advisable to open a business account in the business name, corporate account, as a registered business name. You must register your business name with the Corporate Affairs Commission. It gives customers or clients confidence to transact with you. Incorporated business name and account gives you easy access to obtaining business loans when needed. Banks hardly grant loans to personal accounts. It has to be a registered business entity and operating business account. Use other people's money to expand your business. Don't use a loan as a startup fund. You can use a loan for the expansion of your business, but not as a starter who has never experienced losses in the business. You can't afford to use bank loans for experiments to experience business failure.
Don't take a loan if you are poor or struggling financially. Chances are you're going to waste the money. I'm boldly saying this out of my past personal experiences early in business. Yes, it's true that a lot of businesses are thriving on loans. But the truth is that bank loans are not actually meant for poor or struggling people. The rich and well-established people go for bank loans to expand their businesses or diversification because they already have structures in place to service the loans even if the investment turns out bad. But do you have such structures in place? Before getting involved in loans, you must have solid business and financial structures in place. A loan should only be taken when there is a clear, reliable plan for repayment, even if the money does not produce the expected results. Unfortunately, many people apply for loans without considering their ability to service the debt if things go wrong. Borrowing without structure turns opportunity into pressure. Don't be quick to accept or take a business loan. Many financial institutions present mouth-watering offers designed to attract borrowers, often emphasizing the benefits while downplaying the risks. While these loans may appear helpful, they are ultimately structured to ensure repayment and profit for the lender. For this reason, it is essential to carefully study the loan terms, interest rates, and repayment plans before signing any agreement, especially when collateral is required. I quote, "You can't be diverting money meant for business establishment on personal pleasure and still expect to remain in business."
Lesson 12. Save money in good times so that money can save you in hard time. As a man, handle and manage your financial life with strict discipline and frugality. Financial help is hard to find when you are broke. Resources attract support. Lack repels it. So, plan carefully, spend wisely, invest deliberately, and protect what you earn, because the season of need is not the time to start learning financial discipline. Manage your money while you have it, so you won't lack it when you need it most. Listen, the money you are not able to keep in good times won't be able to keep you through hard times. This can be related to the biblical prodigal son. He squandered his inheritance on frivolities and unproductive living. When the money finished, his life collapsed. He ended up poor, working in the house of a local farmer as a pig herder. After wasting his resources, he became broke, and when he was broke, no one offered him any financial support. Get the lesson here. Resources that are not managed, reinvested, and protected will eventually run out. Whether in personal finance or business, waste leads to poverty and neglect leads to collapse. Money attracts support when it is growing, but when it is squandered, abandonment follows. This is the reality of life. Everyone the prodigal son partied with, including those who benefited from his wealth, abandoned him and left him to wallow alone in poverty after his money was drained. The same people praising you today because you are perceived as rich are often the first to mock, gossip, reject, and despise you when circumstances change. Many who claim love based on benefits would never associate with you if you had nothing to offer. Therefore, do not waste your hard-earned money trying to please people who neither truly value you nor add economic or financial value to your life. Spend wisely, invest decisively, and build great relationships rooted in respect and not convenience. Be a responsible shepherd of money. I have carefully observed over the years that people who misused financial opportunities, lavished or spent money to please others, usually bear the brunt of financial hardships. Money is like a seed that you are supposed to plant for abundance of it. Money must birth money in your hands. As you are working and making money, be smart in saving, investing, diversifying, and creating multiple streams of income to earn future financial freedom. Avoid financial wastage. Financial wastage creates rooms for financial lack. To avoid lack, you need to stop popping champagnes for applause. Stop acquiring liabilities instead of assets. You must not buy an exotic car to show that you are successful. You are just wasting money, and you are definitely not far from poverty.
A time to keep and a time to throw away, says Ecclesiastes 3:6. Learn to keep money. Don't squander every bit of money that comes into your hands, because the money you are able to keep is what will keep you from poverty. Wealth is not built by how much you make alone, but by how much you preserve. You cannot build wealth by throwing money away. What you keep today is what will protect you tomorrow. Do not be wasteful or reckless with your resources. You will financially expire if you continually spend money trying to impress people who add no financial value to your life. Be a good manager of money. The money you can save at the peak of your career or business will save you in times to come. In the Bible, Joseph encouraged King Pharaoh of ancient Egyptian nation to save the 7 years of their abundance against the 7 years of famine predicted to come upon the land. It was said that Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain, like the sand of the sea. It was so much that he stopped keeping records because it was beyond measure. What they preserved for the 7 years of abundance saved them in the 7 years of famine. The principle of financial saving is the bedrock of financial prosperity. Only those who earn, manage, and save resources during their years of strength will be preserved in years of scarcity, years that often come without warning. Prosperity is built in seasons of abundance, not in seasons of lack, and only those who prepare in their prime will not panic in famine.
Your business needs to survive first for you to survive. Feed your business first by putting every resource into the business so the business can feed you later in life. Without growth, your business will not glow. Most business owners think that they are into business to solve their personal problems, even though that's right. But the fact is that the growth and sustainability of the business is more crucial than your personal expenses and pleasures. If you keep dipping your hands into your business capital to run personal things instead of growing the business, chances are both you and the business will be stagnated or crumble. Let's take, for instance, a small business that generates within 200,000 naira on a monthly basis, and the business owner's monthly living expenditure is above 200,000 naira, and that being the owner's single source of income. How on earth do you expect that business thrives? That's why it's advisable to have multiple streams of income. You must spend below your profit or earnings if you must succeed in business. Your earning ability should match or be proportional to your spending ability. If you spend more than you earn or your business generates, your finances will be jeopardized. If you must spend high, then you must earn high as well. Let's assume again, as a business owner, if you sell a product for 100 naira and the cost price of that product is 70 naira, your profit is 30 naira. Now, after gross and operation profits, whatever that's left as your net profit can be reinvested into the business, or half of it can be reinvested, while the rest is kept as saves to stay afloat in the business. Don't just blow up every money you earned in business. Many people sell a product for 100,000 naira and immediately channel the entire amount toward personal needs without refunding the capital or reinvesting in the business. This habit is one of the major reasons businesses fail. When funds are constantly withdrawn from a business instead of being put back into it, growth becomes impossible. A business cannot survive on constant extraction. If you keep pulling money out without replenishing it, your time in that business is numbered. You must set up a business account. Your personal account must not be used to receive business funds. Set up a business account for accountability and proper recording of business finances. It is usually advisable to open a business account in the business name, corporate account, as a registered business name. You must register your business name with the Corporate Affairs Commission. It gives customers or clients confidence to transact with you. Incorporated business name and account gives you easy access to obtaining business loans when needed. Banks hardly grant loans to personal accounts. It has to be a registered business entity and operating business account. Use other people's money to expand your business. Don't use a loan as a startup fund. You can use a loan for the expansion of your business, but not as a starter who has never experienced losses in the business.
You can't afford to use bank loans for experiments to experience business failure. Don't take a loan if you are poor or struggling financially. Chances are you're going to waste the money. I'm boldly saying this out of my past personal experiences early in business. Yes, it's true that a lot of businesses are thriving on loans. But the truth is that bank loans are not actually meant for poor or struggling people. The rich and well-established people go for bank loans to expand their businesses or diversification because they already have structures in place to service the loans even if the investment turns out bad. But do you have such structures in place? Before getting involved in loans, you must have solid business and financial structures in place. A loan should only be taken when there is a clear, reliable plan for repayment, even if the money does not produce the expected results. Unfortunately, many people apply for loans without considering their ability to service the debt if things go wrong. Borrowing without structure turns opportunity into pressure. Don't be quick to accept or take a business loan. Many financial institutions present mouth-watering offers designed to attract borrowers, often emphasizing the benefits while downplaying the risks. While these loans may appear helpful, they are ultimately structured to ensure repayment and profit for the lender. For this reason, it is essential to carefully study the loan terms, interest rates, and repayment plans before signing any agreement, especially when collateral is required. I quote, "You can't be diverting money meant for business establishment on personal pleasure and still expect to remain in business."
Chapter 13. Money is hidden in opportunities. If you truly want money, look for opportunities, not money itself. The problem with many people is that they are so focused on chasing money that they overlook the opportunities where money is actually embedded. When people become fixated on making money, they often chase it the wrong way. But when they pursue value and opportunity, money follows naturally. If you are among the people I'm referring to, I would advise you to stop chasing money and start identifying opportunities where money is actually hidden. Money can't be found anywhere except in opportunities. Most people lack the understanding of what opportunity is, and that's why they are lacking money. They don't know where or how to find opportunity to make money. Most often, they think financial opportunity is freely stumbling on bags of money on the street, or receiving miracle money, or stealing people's money, or even been in politics to siphon public funds. They wait for bigger opportunities to make money, hoping one day God will send an opportunity for them to make it big and be wealthy. Yet there are opportunities all around them. Ignorantly, they see opportunities and call them problems, instead of seeing opportunities in the problems. They ruin opportunities out of ignorance. Sometimes out of greed and foolishness, they messed up their chances of getting recommended by others when there is an opportunity that would benefit them. Listen, opportunity is a situation or circumstances which presents a chance for you to do something beneficial. A business opportunity is a time or situation in which it is possible to offer a product, service, or knowledge commercially to meet a market need and generate profit. Financial opportunity is a chance to meet people's needs and solve problems for financial rewards. Where can we find the opportunities to make money? Opportunities are hidden in problems. People's problem are the opportunities where money is hidden. As I always say, one man's problem is another man's opportunity to make money. The killing of Goliath in the Bible was an opportunity for someone to be enriched because King Saul attached clear rewards to it. See 1 Samuel 17, 23, and 25. Goliath was not just a giant, he was a national threat and a massive problem that paralyzed an entire nation. Whoever eliminated that problem stood to gain honor, access, and wealth. And while others saw only danger, David saw opportunity. He focused on the reward attached to solving the problem, not the size of the problem itself. Every major problem carries a corresponding reward. Those who confront and solve big problems position themselves for great benefits. It is recorded that when all the men of Israel saw the Philistine giant, they were dreadfully afraid and fled from him. But when David saw Goliath, he asked a different question. What shall be done for the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel?
David stepped out of the crowd after hearing the reward, the favor and benefits attached to eliminating the giant. While others focused on the threat, David focused on the opportunity and the honor of solving a national problem. In the end, Goliath was eliminated, Israel was delivered, and David became an instant national hero. One major lesson to take out of this is what frightens the crowd can elevate the courageous, and problems paralyze people, while promote the one who dares to confront them. Financial opportunity is a chance to solve a problem for financial benefits. David saw an opportunity where others saw a problem, and he seized it. While the army of Israel saw Goliath as a threat, David saw a solution, and attached to that solution was a reward. Every problem carries a financial benefit for anyone willing to provide a solution. Problems scare most people away, but they reward the few who confront them. Don't ask, "Where is the money?" Rather, ask, "What problem needs solving?" Every profession exists because a problem exists. Health challenges create work for doctors and hospitals. Legal issues create work for lawyers. Faulty cars create work for mechanics. Dirty cars create work for car wash attendants. Dirty clothes sustain dry cleaners. Homes that need cleaning create income for house cleaners. In every case, a problem becomes someone else's livelihood. This does not mean problems are good, but it shows that value is created by solving them. Every problem is an opportunity for someone who is willing and able to provide a solution. The easiest and most sustainable way to make money is not to chase money, but to identify a problem and solve it well. And the size of the problem you solve, or the kind of people whose needs you meet, will largely determine your financial results. I quote, "The easiest and most sustainable way to make money is not to chase money, but to identify a problem and solve it well."
Lesson 14. Money doesn't stay in an abusive relationship. Money flows from those who mismanage it to those who manage it well. Wealth gravitates toward people who have mastered the art of money management and who understand sound financial principles. Money does not stay where it is wasted. It settles where it is respected, protected, and multiplied. The secret to retain money is to learn the principles, practice discipline, and money will eventually find its way to you and stays. An idle person is an unproductive person, and idle money is unproductive money. People produce when they are engaged, and money multiplies when it is put to work. Just as unused ability wastes potential, unused money wastes opportunity. If you want productivity, engage your hands. If you want growth, engage your money. Through laziness, the roof caves in, and in the hands of the idle, the house leaks. Ecclesiastes 10:18. Don't keep your money idle. Tie your money down to an investment to yield more money for you. You endanger money when you leave it idle because the money will either be spent unwisely, stolen, or wasted pursuing unnecessary pleasure. Any money you have that's not earning more money to you is an idle money that keeps losing value. Inflation suppresses the value of your money, so don't keep your money idle because it loses value as each day passes. There is an adage that says, "An idle hand is the devil's workshop." In the same way, money becomes an instrument of negativity when it is left idle. Idle money often finds its way into wasteful spending, harmful habits, poor decisions, or even destructive ventures. When money is not directed with purpose, it will be misdirected by impulse. Put your money to work, or it will eventually work against you. According to the parable of the workers in the vineyard, the Bible noted, "And that about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and said to them, 'Why have you been standing here idle all day?'" Matthew 26. Idleness is questioned in Scripture because nothing productive comes from it. Whether it is time, ability, opportunity, or money, what remains idle remains unfruitful. Just as idle people produce nothing, idle money multiplies nothing. Both attract waste instead of growth. God expects stewardship, not stagnation. What is given must be engaged. If you don't put your resources to work, you will eventually explain why they produced nothing. Let your money work for you,
just as you once worked for it. The only way to keep money flowing to you is to put it to work. Money responds to assignment. It grows when it is engaged. Money is your servant, not your master. Therefore, don't store it in idleness. Send it on errands. Give your money an assignment to earn more money for you through wise investment. What you command money to do determines whether it multiplies or disappears. The only way to secure your financial future is to secure the future of your money. Failure to secure the future of your money today will put you in a future financial crisis. Thus, the only way to secure the future of your money is to invest it today. Put it into a productive investment that has good returns potential. You can secure the future of money by turning it into an asset. Quote, "The only way to secure your financial future is to secure the future of your money by protecting it, investing it, and allowing it to grow. A seed that is never planted cannot grow or blossom. In the same way, money that is never invested cannot multiply. When you plant a seed, it grows, bears fruit, and produces more seeds. That is how money should be handled, planted wisely so it can grow and multiply. God doesn't give money. He gives natural resources through which money can be generated. Everyone has resources or assets. An opportunity can be a resource. Your talent or skill can be a resource. What matters is recognizing what you've been given and using it to create value. Or let's put it better, money is not what God gives. Potential is. Natural resources, talents, skills, and opportunities are the tools placed in your hands. What you generate from them depends on how you use them.
Money answers everything, says Ecclesiastes 10:19. Does money truly answer all things? People often quote this scripture out of wisdom literature context. It's often turned into something the text never intended, thereby create a delusional sovereignty and accolades to money. They literally exalt money as a god, which is a misleading truth of money as an entity. The author didn't say money is ultimate, divine, nor that money guarantees life, health, or peace. After all, we have seen people die with money in their accounts. People suffer with money in their hands. The truth is that money cannot negotiate with death, disease, or destiny. What the scripture is saying in the actual context is that money is a servant, it runs errands, and it accomplishes assignments either negative or positive. It facilitates good and evil. It goes to wherever it is sent and accomplishes the good or evil desire of its possessors. Money doesn't create good or evil, it amplifies intent. Money in the hands of a healer builds hospitals. Money in the hands of a tyrant builds weapons. Money in the hands of the generous feeds nations. Money in the hands of the corrupt destroys lives. The real power of money is in the heart of its possessor. Money flows through people to materialize what already exists inside them. Money runs through the fingers of people to actualize their good or evil heart desires or intents. Money doesn't choose nor selects assignments. It goes to wherever it's channeled into to accomplish the purpose of the assignment. In true sense, money is a tool, people are the agents, and the heart is the source that money unveils. Lesson 15. Things won't be tight if you don't tithe. Let me repeat that again. Things won't be tight if you don't tithe. Rather, things will only be tight if you don't work to make money. Thus, life won't be difficult or constricted simply because you refuse to comply with the Old Testament legalistic system of tithing under the Mosaic Law as a Christian. Lately, the issue of tithing has become a major debate in Christendom. So many Christians are confused whether to tithe or not to, because it seems that some preachers are not being honest about tithing. But the fact remains that a lot of these prosperity preachers are financial illiterates. The only financial principles they seem to understand are seeds and tithes. However, tithing in itself has absolutely nothing to do with financial prosperity. In fact, Malachi 3:8-10, often cited by prosperity preachers, does not present any practical principles of wealth creation. It was addressed to a specific people under a specific covenant, dealing with obedience to Mosaic law, not modern financial systems. Under the new covenant, the legalistic system of compulsory tithing no longer exists. Consequently, there are no explicit blessings or curses attached to tithing today. Financial prosperity is governed by principles such as value creation and productivity, and not by ritualized giving under a faded, legalistic system. The legalistic system of tithing under the Mosaic Law came to an end at Christ's crucifixion, symbolized by the tearing of the temple veil. This act signified the end of the need for an Aaronic mediator and granted believers direct access to God. With this, the Aaronic priestly system and the Old Testament laws that governed it, including tithing, was fulfilled and concluded. Christ became the ultimate fulfillment of the Aaronic priesthood, serving as the eternal high priest according to the order of Melchizedek. From a New Testament perspective, giving is no longer framed as a legal obligation or compulsory command. Instead, it emphasizes cheerful, willing, and generous giving. Giving is a matter of the heart rooted in love, gratitude, and generosity, not in coercion, fear, or legalistic requirement. Financial payback shouldn't be the essence of your charity. Generosity in the New Testament does not promise financial prosperity as a reward for giving. Believers give so that others may be blessed, just as the early Christians did. Some even sold their landed properties and brought the proceeds to the apostles for distribution according to need. When giving is done with the expectation of bountiful personal returns, it becomes transactional and loses the true essence of generosity. Generosity is not an investment scheme for quick financial elevation or material gain. True generosity remains what it is meant to be: kindness toward others, offered freely and without expectation of repayment. God is not involved in money-doubling schemes. He is not a counterfeiter. He doesn't mint or print money in heaven. Financial success is an earthly affair governed by practical principles of value creation, productivity, discipline, and opportunity. It is always good to be generous. Genuine generosity can earn the love and respect of people and may attract divine favor, but only when it is done freely, without expectation or transactional motives. God does not need your money in order to give you money or make you wealthy, contrary to how prosperity preachers often portray it. You are already blessed with innate potentials, skills, and daily opportunities through which wealth can be created. Therefore, your financial prosperity is not determined by how much you contribute financially to your local church, but by how well you steward your abilities, opportunities, and resources. Tithes and financial seeds have become survival strategies for many pastors. I strongly object to the twisting of words and manipulation of Scripture to make nonsense sound spiritual. Telling people that their lives will become financially tight if they do not pay tithes is deception. Declaring that offering time is blessing time as a means to pressure people into giving is equally misleading. Using Scripture to manipulate people into giving money to God is exploitation. Coercing people emotionally or spiritually to raise funds for God's work distorts the message of the gospel. Worse still is telling people they are under a curse for not tithing. This is fear-based control, not biblical teaching. These practices do not reflect the heart of Christ or the freedom of the new covenant. They are tools of manipulation employed by false teachers who prioritize personal survival and comfort over truth, integrity, and genuine spiritual growth.
Many Christians run to church when they are financially sick. They are much like the woman who suffered hemorrhage for 12 years. She spent all she had on physicians, yet, instead of improving, her condition worsened. In the same way, many people in the church remain poor because they continually invest in solutions that do not address the root of their financial problems. Just as that woman's physicians kept administering the wrong treatment, many pastors continue to prescribe the wrong financial remedies: endless fasting, prayers, seeds, and tithes as solutions for financial success. While prayer and fasting have spiritual value, they are not part of the financial success equation. Financial health requires practical action. If you are financially sick, do not rely solely on spiritual rituals. Read financial books, develop yourself, learn a skill, harness your talents, Seek opportunities to solve real problems for people and earn financial rewards through value creation. Quote, "Faith without wisdom and action will not produce financial stability." When the poor widow whose late husband was a prophet ran to Elisha because her husband's creditors were about to take her 2 sons as repayment for debt, the prophet did not subject her to endless fasting and prayers. She was not asked to sow seeds or pay tithes for a financial breakthrough. Instead, she was instructed to do something practical with her hands. Borrowing empty vessels from her neighbors required effort. Pouring her little oil into those vessels was work. Carrying the filled vessels to the market and selling them was real labor. Her miracle was activated through action. When you need money, go and work. Do something that creates value and attracts money. Stop waiting for miracles to replace responsibility. God does not print money in the church. Do not go to church looking for money because there is none there except donations meant for church maintenance and administration. Stop listening to charlatans who portray God as a financial tyrant who needs your money to survive. If you are poor, giving money through tithes and seeds will not magically make you rich. Financial success does not come from rituals. It comes from work, wisdom, and understanding the true principles of money. You do not need money to break the chains of poverty. You need understanding. Without understanding, even large amounts of money will eventually disappear and poverty will return. The modern-day manipulative tithing system is not designed to make anyone rich. Malachi 3:10 has nothing to do with personal financial prosperity. That instruction was given specifically to the ancient people of Israel operating under the Mosaic Law, not to believers living under the New Covenant. In the Old Testament, tithing was a structured system meant to provide food and sustenance for the Levites, as well as support for the poor, widows, and foreigners. It also funded national feasts and functioned as a form of taxation within ancient Israel. Therefore, using Old Testament tithing laws as a modern formula for personal wealth creation is a misapplication of Scripture and a distortion of its original purpose. Tithing was a command given to the Israelites under the Mosaic Law. There were many other practices God required in the Old Testament that are no longer applicable to Christians today. This is why it is puzzling that tithing remains such a heated debate within Christendom. Under the kingdom of Christ, several Old Testament practices are no longer permitted or required, such as animal sacrifices for the atonement of sin and adherence to ceremonial laws. Tithing belongs to that same legal system that was fulfilled and concluded in Christ. Christianity is not governed by the Mosaic Law, but by grace, truth, and freedom in Christ. So attempting to reimpose selected Old Testament laws while ignoring others creates confusion within the faith. The tithing principles of the Old Testament. Tithing was a legalistic financial system established to meet the needs of the Levites and the destitute in ancient Israel under the Mosaic Law. However, many argue that tithing predates the law because Abraham gave a tithe to Melchizedek. First, Abraham tithed only once in the entire Bible. There is no record of him practicing tithing as a continual command or lifestyle. Second, his tithe did not come from agricultural produce or personal income. It came from the spoils of war after rescuing his nephew Lot. This was a voluntary act, not a commanded system. Furthermore, Abraham practiced other things that also predated the law of Moses, such as circumcision and animal sacrifice. Yet these are no longer required or practiced under the New Covenant. Selectively elevating Abraham's one-time tithe while ignoring these other practices is erratic, in my opinion.
The more important question, therefore, is this. Should Christians pattern their lives after Abraham, who was never a Christian, or after Christ, who became the ultimate and final sacrifice for all? Christianity is shaped by Christ, not by selectively borrowed practices from pre-law figures. Under the New Covenant, giving is guided by grace and generosity, not by legal obligation. The 3 types of tithing in the Old Testament. 1. The Levitical tithe. Numbers 18:21-24. This tithe was given to support the Levites, who had no land inheritance and served in the temple. 2. The festival tithe. Deuteronomy 14:20 22 to 27. This tithe was set aside for national religious feasts and celebrations, reinforcing worship and communal unity. 3. The tithe for the poor. Deuteronomy 14, 28 to 29. This tithe provided for the poor, widows, orphans, and foreigners living within Israel. Tithing in the Old Testament was not a single, simple practice. It was a three-part system, embedded within Israel's national, religious, and social structure. Unfortunately, most preachers do not explain tithing within this full biblical context. This lack of explanation is why many people remain confused about whether they should tithe nowadays. When only one part of the system is emphasized without historical or covenantal context, tithing becomes misunderstood, misapplied, and controversial as it is today. Let me further explain the main purpose the tithing system was established in the Old Testament. 1. Purpose of the Levitical tithe. God said, "I give to the Levites all the tithes in Israel as their inheritance in return for the work they do while serving at the tent of meeting." You can read that, Numbers 18, 21 to 24. Note, during the wilderness period, approximately 22,300 Levites were appointed to assist the priests. Not all Levites were priests. Only Aaron and his sons were permitted to serve in the priesthood. Consequently, the Israelites gave a full tithe, 10%, of their produce to the Levites, who in turn gave a tithe of that amount, 1% of the total, to the priests. Thus, 9% remained with the Levites, while 1% went to the priests. 2. Purpose of the festival tithe. They were instructed, "Be sure to set aside 1/10 of all that your fields produce each year. Eat the tithe of your grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks in the presence of the Lord your God, at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name, so that you may learn to revere the Lord your God always." Deuteronomy 14, 22 to 27. Under Mosaic law, tithing was required only from the agricultural produce of the land. Although Israelites engaged in other trades and sources of income, these were not subject to the tithe. In addition, the so-called Tithe of the Feast was an annual celebration in which the people of Israel gathered to eat and rejoice together before the Lord in gratitude for his provision. This tithe was not intended to support the priests or Levites, but functioned as a communal act of worship and thanksgiving. 3. The purpose of the tithe for the poor. The people were also instructed, at the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns, so that the Levites, who have no allotment or inheritance of their own, and the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns, may come and eat and be satisfied. Deuteronomy 14, 28 to 29. This is the tithe God was referring to in Malachi 3:10. Each city maintained a local storehouse, and the tithes were distributed to the Levites, as well as to the widow, the fatherless, and the foreigner living within that community. This tithe was not collected annually, but every 3rd year, in accordance with the law. Its purpose was communal provision and social care within each city, ensuring that those without land or inheritance were sustained. Here are things to note. 1. The storehouse was local, not a centralized temple treasury. 2. The recipients were Levites and the vulnerable, not priests alone. 3. This was the 3rd year tithe described in Deuteronomy 14, 28 to 29, not the annual Levitical tithe. Malachi's rebuke only targets those disobeying the covenant, not a timeless fundraising mandate. In other words, Malachi 3 did not redefine tithing. It simply called Israel back to obedience to the Mosaic system the people already neglected.
When God blesses you, appreciate him. When God blesses you, respond with gratitude and appreciation. This does not require adherence to the 10% legal structure of Mosaic tithing. Believers are no longer under the Mosaic law. The temple system no longer exists,
and most Christians are not agricultural landowners in the promised land as required under that law. Tithing under Moses was tied to a specific covenant, a functioning temple, and a land-based economy. To reimpose that system today is to misunderstand both the law and the gospel. Giving should never be used as bait for financial prosperity. Scripture does not teach that money comes from religious obligation, but from honest labor and wisdom. If someone desires financial increase, the biblical instruction is to work, not to manipulate spiritual fear through church giving. Finally, believers should not be told they are under a curse for failing to tithe. The curse mentioned in Malachi 3:10 belonged to Israel under the Mosaic covenant. In Christ, that covenant has been fulfilled, and its penalties are not binding on the church. Jesus overturned the tables of the money changers. When Jesus entered the temple courts, he drove out those who were buying and selling. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves and declared, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." Matthew 21:12-13. Jesus was not condemning giving. Rather, he was condemning the commercialization of worship. He flipped tables because people were using God to make money. The church is a place of worship, not a business center. God does not store money in the church building. Rather, he places provision in opportunities. Opportunities accessed through diligence, wisdom, and faithful stewardship. Scripture consistently teaches that provision flows through work, responsibility, and obedience to sound principles of wealth creation and money management. Worship is not a shortcut to prosperity. When the church is turned into a marketplace, worship is corrupted and God is misrepresented. Today, many churches have become a den of robbers through a transactional gospel. Some pastors preach this message out of ignorance, while others knowingly twist God's word for financial gain. The result has been devastating. Many Christians remain trapped in abject poverty, not because God has failed them, but because they have been mistaught. Believers are often instructed to pray, fast, pay tithes, and sow seeds as though these actions alone will produce money or create wealth. In doing so, they forget a crucial truth. Prayer does not produce money if action is not engaged. Prayer is powerful, but it is not a replacement for responsibility. God may give insight, ideas, and direction in the place of prayer, but those insights must be acted upon. One must step out of the prayer room and put into practice what was revealed there. God can give you an insight to make money in the place of prayer, but prayer is not the marketplace. You must step out of the prayer room and put into action the ideas you received there. Let me repeat that again. Now, listen attentively. God often releases ideas and strategies in prayer, but manifestation requires movement. What is revealed in the Spirit must be executed in the natural. I quote, "God may give insight, ideas, and direction in the place of prayer, but those insights must be acted upon."
Lesson 16.
Cultivate a positive mindset about money. Sometimes our mindset about money determines our financial success or failure, whether we become rich or poor. A positive mindset toward money and its acquisition is a vital step toward attracting money and building wealth. People don't become rich because they are lucky. No, they believe it's possible, work deliberately toward it, and become it. If you think wealth is a matter of luck, you may end up a very lucky poor person. You must build a positive mindset on money to manifest money. A cashless ATM does not dispense money. It only gives out what has been loaded into it. In the same way, only a richly loaded mind can manifest money. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks, so he is." Your thoughts and beliefs shape your character, your reality, and the results you experience in life. In the same way,
Your thoughts and beliefs about money shape your financial reality. If you build a poor mindset around money, the acquisition of it will partially become impossible. But if you build a rich mindset on money, the acquisition of it won't be a big deal. In essence, your mindset toward money, whether negative or positive, plays a decisive role in determining whether you hinder or advance your ability to create and sustain wealth. If you approach money-making with indifference or negativity, you may very well end up poor. But when you are optimistic about making money, your mindset begins to think like a money magnate. You become quick to detect, attract, and harness opportunities. You start seeing opportunities in problems, not problems in opportunities. Don't let figures intimidate you. Money is about numbers and figures. Don't be intimidated by figures of money. When you hear millions, billions, or even trillions being mentioned, or see people spending such amounts, let it motivate you, not intimidate you. If a friend or someone you know buys a property worth millions or billions of naira, be happy, not afraid. They are simply showing you what is possible. It is evidence that you too can achieve such things someday if you maintain a rich and positive mindset. Don't be intimidated when you hear of people buying cars worth 100 million naira, 300 million naira, or properties worth billions. I've observed that sometimes, out of fear, intimidation by figures, or small-mindedness, people pray for prices of things to come down to their level so they can afford them, rather than striving to work harder, aim higher, and raise their financial capacity to meet those higher levels. Don't always pray for prices to come down to your level, because they often won't, especially in a country where prices and commodities are largely unregulated. Instead, work harder, raise your income, and increase your earning capacity so you can afford things despite price hikes. Lastly, don't be anxious or bitter about the things you can't afford today. Don't allow your inability to acquire material things to steal your joy or enthusiasm for life. The truth is, what you can't afford today will likely become the old version of what you will acquire tomorrow. Believe, be patient, and maintain a positive mindset toward money and its acquisition. I quote, "Don't envy today what patience will give you tomorrow." Lesson 17. Money is reward. Money is not heaven's reward system. Prayer, goodness, and devotion have their own rewards, but money responds to value, skill, strategy, and action. Money is a medium of exchange that flows toward those who consistently create solutions to human problems. Creativity and invention are simply tools for turning value into reward. You must create something or render services to earn money. Money is simply a reward given to those who create solutions to human problems through creativity and invention. Perhaps the reason behind your financial struggle is that you are not solving a problem that attracts higher pay. You are working under someone else's vision and are rewarded according to your contribution to that vision. The founder receives the greater financial rewards because he identified a problem, created a solution, and built a system around it. You were employed to help deliver that solution to clients, those whose problems the business exists to solve. Your employer did not hire you to make you rich, but to help actualize his vision. Your salary is the financial reward for your contribution to that mission. A trader understands that people have needs. He trades his money, time, and energy to make solutions available, each with a price tag. His financial reward is the price people pay to have their needs met through his products or services. Money, therefore, is simply a reward for solving human problems. The quality of the solutions you provide determines the quality of your financial rewards. Honestly, prayer alone cannot solve financial problems or make a person wealthy. Prayer may give insight, direction, or ideas, but wealth is created through value. You must have a craft, skill, or service that meets people's needs. You must identify a problem and develop a solution so that people can reward you for helping to solve their problems. For example, if you live in Abuja and need to be in Lagos within 2 hours for an important meeting, airline companies exist to solve that problem. The money you pay for the flight ticket is their reward for making it possible for you to arrive on time. Hospitals are built because of people's health problems. Doctors spend many years in school learning how to identify and solve medical problems. When a patient visits a hospital and receives a diagnosis, a price is placed on the medical solution to that illness. That price is the reward given to the doctor or hospital for solving the health problem. In the same way, lawyers spend years in law school learning how to solve legal problems, and they are financially rewarded for providing legal solutions. Schools exist to solve the problem of ignorance and to promote intellectual development. School fees are the price people pay to acquire knowledge and mental capacity. Every professional course of study is designed to equip people with the skills needed to solve human problems in a specific field. Thus, education equips individuals to solve human needs and problems in exchange for monetary rewards. Wherever there is a problem, there is an opportunity for someone to earn money. The story of 2 shoe salesmen in Africa. There is a popular story of 2 shoe salesmen sent to a region in Africa to research market potential. After their assignment, the first salesman reported back, saying, "No one wears shoes here. There is no market." He saw only obstacles and concluded there was no opportunity. The second salesman reported, "No one here wears shoes. There is a huge market." He saw the absence of shoes as an untapped opportunity to create a new market. The difference between the 2 salesmen was perception. One saw problems, the other saw opportunities to solve problems and make money. Many people see problems in opportunities instead of seeing opportunities in problems. The second salesman said, "No one here wears shoes. There is a huge market." A market is not just a place where people gather to do business. A market is where solutions are bought and sold. It is a space where products and services exist to meet human needs and solve problems. We go to the market either to buy or sell solutions to problems. Go, sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons can live on the rest. Prophet Elijah instructed a poor widow after her little jar of oil was miraculously multiplied. She was asked to take her filled vessels of oil to the marketplace for those in need of oil to buy from her for monetary value, so she could pay off their debts and live on the rest of the proceeds. Every product or item in the marketplace is to solve a problem. No sane person goes to the market to buy problems. People go to the market to buy solutions. We buy clothes to solve the problem of nakedness. We buy phones to solve communication problems. We buy food to solve hunger. We buy books to solve ignorance. We buy insect repellents or rat poison to solve pest problems. Thus, the market is a place of answers, a space where solutions to the daily problems of humanity are exchanged. One man's problem is another man's advantage. To earn money. One person's starvation is another person's opportunity to earn money by providing food. One person's illness is another person's opportunity to earn money by providing medical solutions. Even at funerals, people earn money by offering services. The world is full of problems yearning for answers. People have needs and wants, and they are willing to pay for solutions. Money is hidden in opportunities, and opportunities are simply problems that need solutions. If you can identify a problem and create a solution, money will follow. Perhaps the challenge for many people is that they are too fixated on money itself instead of focusing on creating value that attracts money. We solve problems to make money, and we make money to solve problems. Life is designed around value exchange. We are created to solve problems and earn money for a better livelihood. However, the challenge with many people is that they are passionate about money, but not committed to solving people's problems, the very channel through which money flows. This is why many fail in business or career. Money becomes the ultimate goal. When money is the focus, greed often sets in and standards are compromised. But when the focus is on adding value to people's lives, money follows naturally. I quote, "Chase value, not money. Money will chase you."
Lesson 18. Don't pray for money. Stop praying to God for money. Prayer is not part of the money-making equation. It may not sound pleasant to religious minds, but truth does not need to be sugar-coated to be valid. Praying for provision is acceptable. Believers are encouraged to ask God for their needs. However, the Bible does not instruct believers to pray for money itself. Prayer is good and plays a vital role in life, but it takes more than prayer to build financial prosperity. Perhaps your continuous pursuit of money through prayer alone is the reason you remain broke or poor. You can pray for opportunities to work, to create valuable products, or to render meaningful services that people are willing to pay for. You can also pray for financial wisdom, discipline, and the ability to manage and multiply money. However, praying for money without solving human problems, without creating value, and while remaining ignorant of financial management will only keep you trapped in continuous financial struggle and poverty. As uncomfortable as it may sound to some, no one in the Bible is recorded as praying for money or financial empowerment. The prophets and apostles did not pursue wealth through prayer. Those who needed resources worked diligently, while those who pursued money through sinful means suffered severe consequences, such as Achan, Gehazi, and Judas Iscariot. Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 4:28, "Let him who stole steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give him who has need." There is true dignity in the labor of our hands. As I noted in Lesson 10, it takes two hands to make money, the hand of favor and the hand of labor. One without the other leads to frustration, stagnation, and poverty. When a person who ought to labor refuses to work, he crowns himself with starvation and stagnation. When Jesus was asked to pay tax in Matthew 17:27, he did not invoke or conjure money from an invisible realm. He instructed Peter to go to the sea, cast a hook, catch a fish, open its mouth, and take the coin found there to pay the tax. Peter was a fisherman, the right man for the task. He had to go and labor to access the money. There was no spectacle of miracle money. There was instruction, obedience, and work. Sadly, today some religious leaders promote ideas of miracle money, coaxing members to believe that financial prosperity is guaranteed simply through tithes, and that without paying 10%, life will become financially difficult. I've come to realize that most people who pray for money or seek miracle money are greedy, manipulative, and dishonest in nature. They are daily committing atrocities for money acquisition, yet attributing it to God's blessings. God doesn't bless people with money. God equips people with potential and opportunities to make money. He does not honor idleness or laziness. Unfortunately, many people use prayer as bait for wealth or as an escape route from poverty. They pray for financial miracles with a sense of entitlement, believing God must fulfill promises of blessing while they ignore the principles that guarantee financial success. Stop praying for financial miracles with zero financial knowledge. One major reason many Christians remain in continuous financial struggle is ignorance. They are often taught to chase money through prayer instead of attracting money through value, skill, discipline, and contribution to life. Many Christians become frustrated praying to God for money, as though God prints or mints money in heaven. They pray for miracle money and end up disappointed because their prayers go unanswered. This frustration often comes from being taught that money itself is a blessing from God, and that certain rituals must be performed to compel God to release it. In many cases, believers are led to think that once they become Christians, they are automatically entitled to financial prosperity. It is heretical to lure people to Jesus on the promise of financial prosperity.
We must understand this truth clearly. Jesus did not die to make us rich. He died to save us. He didn't die to give us eternal money, but eternal life. His mission was not to make us wealthy on earth, but to make us citizens of heaven. Money is a human-created entity with some laid-down rules and principles for its possession. Money is not a product of prayer or fasting. Money is a reward given to those who solve problems through the services or products they provide. There is no money in heaven. Money is a human-created system, and there are no man-made products in heaven. God does not print or mint money in heaven. He is not a counterfeiter. All the money that exists is here on earth, hidden in opportunities and waiting for people to discover and work it out. Listen, you don't need to coax God to give you money. When you ask God for financial freedom, what He gives is financial wisdom, the ability to earn that freedom. He supplies potential, abilities, insight, and opportunities through which money can be made. What do you have? You must have a product to offer or a service to render in order to acquire money. What product or service are you currently offering to generate or attract money? When the poor widow, burdened with debt, went to Prophet Elisha for help, he did not pray her out of debt instantly. He did not prescribe endless fasting, prayers, or tithes for financial empowerment. Instead, he asked her a simple but powerful question: "What do you have in your house?" She replied, "Nothing except a jar of oil." She had no idea that her solution was already in her possession. The prophet then instructed her to go to her neighbors and borrow empty vessels. He told her to go into her house, shut the door behind her and her sons, and begin to pour her little jar of oil into the borrowed vessels, setting each filled one aside. As she obeyed the instruction, her small jar of oil was multiplied. When there were no more empty vessels, the oil stopped flowing. Out of excitement, she ran back to the prophet with the testimony. He then instructed her to go to the marketplace, sell the oil for its monetary value, pay off her debts, and live on the remainder with her sons. As I have consistently noted throughout this book, money is a reward given to those who add value and solve problems through their work. The oil only became money when it was exchanged in the marketplace as a solution to human needs. The power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, "For it is He who gives you power to get wealth." Why did Moses say that God gives us the power to get wealth, and not that He gives us wealth itself? The word power comes from the Hebrew word koach, which means divine strength, ability, capacity, or empowerment to gain possession of something that would otherwise be beyond our natural ability. This shows that God does not hand out wealth directly. Rather, He gives people the divine empowerment, the capacity, skill, strength, wisdom, and opportunity to create wealth. Part of this empowerment is expressed through hard work, diligence, and effort which God blesses and multiplies. Don't chase, attract. You don't chase money. You attract money by creating channels through which it can flow, as noted in Lesson 4. As the Brazilian poet Mario Quintana famously said, "Don't waste your time chasing butterflies. Mend your garden, and the butterflies will come." If you spend your time chasing butterflies, they will fly away. But if you invest your time in making a beautiful garden, the butterflies will naturally come to you. In the same way, when you focus on improving yourself, your skills, value, and usefulness, money follows. We attract based on who we are, not merely on what we want. Instead of actively chasing money, focus on building structures that naturally attract money to you. Just as a beautiful garden attracts butterflies, improving yourself and maximizing your potential attracts wealth. You will not attract money through prayers or mere wishes, but through who you are, your skills, value, discipline, and capacity to convert potential into results. Stop begging for money to flow in your direction. Money responds to command through work, structure, and value creation, not desperation. Use money to attract money. We use money to attract more money, just as magnetic tools attract magnets. Wood or plastic cannot attract magnets because they lack magnetic properties. In the same way, Prayer is not a money-attracting or magnetic tool. Money does not respond to prayers. It responds to value, structure, systems, and physical channels deliberately created to attract it. You need structures to attract money. Here are the 3 channels through which money flows: business, career, salary, job. A channel is a means of access, a pathway through which money flows to you. Money does not flow randomly, it flows through deliberate structures. So, a channel of income is any structured system through which you exchange value for money.
One channel of income is risky. Relying on a single source of income is financially unsafe. If anything happens to that one source, you are only one step away from financial failure. This is why it is always advisable to have more than one source of income. When one stream is disrupted, other streams can continue generating income. An individual with multiple streams of income has a clear financial advantage over someone with only one source. A single stream produces one revenue. Multiple streams produce multiple revenues. This is why wealthy individuals typically build and maintain multiple streams of income. Diversify your investments to mitigate risk. Although wealth can be created from a single source of income, it is wise to develop additional sources of wealth. An unexpected event can disrupt or completely shut down one source of income, such as natural disasters, changes in government policy, job loss, or career breakdown. While we do not pray for such events to occur, life sometimes happens. Preparation, not prayer alone, is what protects financial stability. Even the Bible encourages multiple streams of income. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." The Bible clearly emphasizes diversification rather than dependence on a single source of income. Financial wisdom recognizes uncertainty and prepares for it. Broadly speaking, there are 4 major types of income. 1. Active income, earned through labor or time. 2. Passive income, earned with minimal ongoing effort. 3. Business income, earned through systems and solutions. 4. Investment income, earned through assets and capital growth. The primary reason for diversifying income streams is protection. When one stream dries up, others can continue flowing and prevent financial hardship. I quote, "Financial collapse often happens not because people didn't earn, but because they depended on only one source." Lesson 19. Money doesn't cure poverty. Money is never an antidote for eradicating poverty. Poverty is often caused by deeper human, systemic, and unforeseen factors. Simply injecting money without addressing those factors only offers temporary relief. I explained this extensively in my book, Unveiling the Hidden Mysteries of Poverty. The eradication of poverty begins with identifying and breaking its root causes. To truly end poverty, one must apply first principle thinking, also known as root cause analysis, rather than focusing only on symptoms. I have seen people rise to great financial heights only to fall back into poverty because the foundational issues that caused poverty in the first place were never resolved. Money came, but the problems remained and eventually pulled them back down. If you financially empower a man who has not yet conquered poverty, there is a high chance he will return to poverty within a short time. Many people believe that once they acquire money, their struggle with poverty will end. This belief is misguided. Money alone does not eliminate poverty. Unless the root and fundamental causes of poverty are addressed and corrected, money will only provide temporary relief. The truth is that, without internal transformation, external resources will eventually be exhausted, and the cycle of poverty will repeat itself. Many people are poor for different reasons. Some are poor because they are ignorant of their potential, lack a sense of purpose, and have not yet discovered their innate abilities. Others struggle financially due to spiritual hindrances that must first be confronted and resolved.
Some people remain poor because they lack the academic qualifications required to access employment opportunities that provide a stable income. Others are poor because they lack practical skills, financial discipline, or sound financial education. Additionally, many people experience financial struggle due to what can be described as the God factor. In such cases, God may be taking them through a process of shaping, molding, and building character so they can fully actualize their purpose in life. During this season, lack is not punishment, but preparation. Lack of money is a symptom, not the root cause of poverty. There is always a root cause of poverty. Poverty is not simply the absence of money. Rather, the absence of money is a symptom of poverty. You are not poor because you lack money. You lack money because there is an underlying condition of poverty at work. When the root cause remains unaddressed, money, no matter how much, is temporary and unstable. This is why root cause analysis must be applied when dealing with poverty. Until the foundational issues are identified and corrected, financial interventions alone will fail to produce lasting change. In truth, everyone is born into poverty, including those born into wealth. Poverty begins as ignorance of self, purpose, discipline, and principles. The failure to recognize this reality is the reason many people born into wealth eventually lose it or experience hardship later in life. Your wealthy father was once a poor man who conquered poverty. The fact that your parents have conquered poverty does not automatically mean that you have conquered poverty as well. While privileges and opportunities may be created for you by those who have overcome poverty, these advantages do not guarantee your freedom from it if you fail to develop the right mindset, discipline, and responsibility. In today's society, we see many examples of poor children born to rich parents and wealthy parents raising financially unstable children. This reality confirms that inheritance alone does not secure a permanent escape from poverty. When wealth is not properly understood, managed, and preserved, it can easily be lost. Many such children become confused and frustrated, struggling to find direction in life because inherited wealth does not replace purpose, character, or financial intelligence. This is why it is risky to transfer financial inheritance to heirs who lack financial culture, discipline, or education, especially those trapped in destructive habits or addictions. History repeatedly shows families selling off inherited assets shortly after the death of the person who built the wealth. True freedom from poverty is not inherited. It is learned, cultivated, and sustained. The biblical story of the prodigal son clearly illustrates that being born into wealth does not mean one has conquered poverty. Though he was raised in abundance and later received his portion of the family inheritance, he squandered it through a reckless and undisciplined lifestyle. Within a short time, he returned to his father in deep poverty. His downfall was not the absence of money, but the absence of wisdom, discipline, and financial understanding. This is why financial education is a critical first step in eradicating poverty. In many cases, financial illiteracy is the primary root cause of poverty. However, other factors, such as physical limitations or spiritual constraints, can also serve as root causes. A powerful biblical example is found in the Acts of the Apostles. The beggar at the Beautiful Gate had been poor for many years, despite receiving money daily from those entering the temple. Financial handouts sustained him temporarily, but never changed his condition. When Peter encountered him, he did not offer money as others had done for years. Instead, he addressed the root cause of the man's poverty, his inability to walk and work. Peter said, "In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." Instantly, the man was healed. By dealing with the root cause rather than the symptom, the beggar gained not just mobility, but dignity, productivity, and the ability to earn a living. This teaches us that lasting freedom from poverty comes not from handouts, but from addressing the foundational issues that keep people trapped. Sometimes, giving a man money is not the solution to his poverty. When a person has no plan for his life, there is no assurance that he will have a plan for the money given to him. Repeatedly, we see individuals receive settlements or startup funds, yet nothing meaningful comes out of it. The issue is not the lack of opportunity, but the absence of vision, structure, and understanding. Financial empowerment should never come before intellectual empowerment. Empowering a person financially without first empowering him intellectually is wasted effort. Without internal capacity, the individual will eventually return, not empowered but dependent, seeking yet another round of assistance. True empowerment begins in the mind. When the mind is empowered, money becomes a tool. When it is not, money becomes a temporary escape. The acquisition of money doesn't guarantee the eradication of poverty. Sometimes, the acquisition of money is merely evidence that the root cause of poverty has been addressed. But if the root cause remains unresolved, poverty persists, and no matter how much money a person makes, he will eventually end up broke. However, possessing money is not absolute proof that poverty has been defeated. Wealth without understanding, discipline, and purpose is fragile and often temporary. Identifying the root cause of poverty is the first and most critical step in eradicating it from a person's life. One must understand why he is poor or constantly struggling financially. Indeed, the failure to identify and confront the true causes of poverty is the primary reason many people remain trapped in ongoing financial hardship. I quote, "When a person has no plan for his life, there is no assurance that he will have a plan for the money given to him."
Lesson 20. Financial wisdom is a key to financial freedom. As noted in the previous lesson, financial empowerment without intellectual empowerment is wasted empowerment. When a person is empowered financially without the capacity to manage, grow, or sustain that empowerment, he will always return for more assistance rather than progress toward independence. This principle is reflected in Scripture. God was pleased when Solomon asked for wisdom instead of wealth. His request revealed understanding. Wisdom precedes wealth, and wisdom sustains wealth. In the same way, when a man prays to God for financial freedom, God does not simply hand him money. Instead, He gives him financial wisdom, the insight, understanding, and discipline required to create and sustain financial freedom. The Bible says, "Wisdom is the principal thing." Financial wisdom, therefore, is a key that unlocks financial freedom. Financial wisdom and literacy are the first steps in eradicating poverty because, in most cases, financial illiteracy is the major root cause of poverty. This is why financial empowerment must never come before intellectual empowerment. Do not financially empower a person who has not yet identified the root cause of his poverty. Money does not cure poverty. Money is not an antidote for poverty. It only exposes whether poverty has truly been dealt with. Poverty has many roots. People are not poor because they lack money. Rather, they lack money because they are poor. There is a significant difference between the two. Poverty has root causes, and lack money is only a symptom, not the cause. If you financially empower a person who has not yet conquered poverty by addressing its root causes, there is a possibility that he will fall back into poverty within a short period of time. Providing financial empowerment without teaching financial management is a serious financial error. Money without knowledge is unstable. I have seen many people who once made substantial money but eventually became poor. I have seen others waste family inheritance, sell inherited properties, and squander the proceeds because they ignored sound financial principles. When money is given to someone who lacks financial intelligence, his focus is often on consumption rather than creation. He thinks of entertainment instead of investment. He prioritizes spending over multiplying. He seeks to acquire liabilities rather than assets. He pursues the latest gadgets and designer clothing instead of investing in books and knowledge that would strengthen his financial understanding. Money does not correct poverty. Only financial intelligence, discipline, and sound principles can do that. It is never a wise thing to financially empower a man who doesn't understand the fundamental basis and principles of financial management. There are elements of human or unforeseen factors that cause poverty. Lack of money is a symptom, not the root cause of poverty.
there is always an underlying cause behind poverty. Therefore, root cause analysis must be applied when addressing it. The eradication of poverty begins with identifying and breaking its root cause. In many cases, ending poverty requires first-principle thinking, going beyond surface symptoms to confront foundational issues such as mindset, discipline, skills, and wisdom. I have seen people fall from the height of financial prosperity into deep poverty because certain fundamental issues were never properly addressed. When these unresolved issues resurface, they reverse progress and pull individuals back into poverty. A clear biblical illustration is the story of the prodigal son. He requested and received his share of the family inheritance, yet within a few years he returned home in poverty. His problem was not lack of money, but lack of financial wisdom and self-discipline. What he needed was financial education, not financial empowerment. Likewise, countless people today receive settlements or startup funds and still achieve no lasting results. Without addressing the root causes of poverty, financial assistance only postpones failure rather than preventing it. Money does not end poverty. Understanding, wisdom, and the correction of foundational issues do. The acquisition of money doesn't guarantee the eradication of poverty. Poverty will persist, and no matter how much money you make, you will continue to end up broke until you are liberated from the root cause of poverty. I quote, "Until the root cause of poverty is identified and broken, poverty will persist."